everybody, welcome to the Roundtable podcast, aka Roundtable Live. I'm BaerTaffy, joined by MathasGames, RockLeeSmile, and Northernlion. Hi.
Hey, dudes.
Hello. How'd you guys spend the weekend? I want to start this off like a morning radio show.
Playing video games?
Oh, man, no, it doesn't work with us, does it? How'd you guys spend the weekend? Doing the exact same stuff we did all throughout the week.
It's already Tuesday. I'm supposed to be like, what did I do on the weekend?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. You forget on Monday.
The weekend doesn't really have the same meaning anymore.
Oh, okay. So I got back from San Francisco on Friday.
Okay.
And I napped. And then on Saturday, Kate and I went to the Vancouver Orchestra.
Oh, okay. That's actually pretty interesting,
You actually did a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is like the exact step above all the rest of us. Oh, wait, you went and did something somewhere? What?
You
On
left your
Sunday,
house?
I don't remember. I don't think I did anything on Sunday.
How was the symphony?
It was good. I
okay.
don't appreciate a lot of classical music. I haven't developed my palate that far, but it's always a nice experience.
There's a certain age where that clicks, I think. It's probably like 45, right? Where you just start to understand, oh, yeah, you know what? Classical music defines my life.
There's like, there is some classical music I can appreciate like right off the bat. Some of it requires a little bit more mining. You know, it was cool though. There was like a world-class performer there apparently.
Oh,
She played the violin really well.
Apparently.
Well, I mean, she was on the poster.
okay.
And as she was playing, I was like, yeah, she's really killing that violin.
Was it Lindsay Sterling?
No, that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, that would be kind of insane.
It was Sarah Chang,
Oh, all right.
who apparently has a position in Barack Obama's cabinet as like Minister of Russian Relations or something.
What?
So she's a lot better at the violin than she is at her other job.
Oh, you don't know that. Come on now. All right, well, today's Roundtable Live topics include the PlayStation experience. We're going to do a recap of that, as well as Hideo Kojima's snub and sort of interesting... There's some shade being thrown, I think, by the way of Konami. Also, we're going to be talking about the Video Game Awards, hosted by Jeff Keighley. Psychonauts 2 on Fig.co is a very interesting story as well. And then we're going to be talking about Helldivers, Nuclear Throne's exit from early access on Steam. I was going to say release, but, well, I guess it's still technically a release, right? And then Ask Roundtable and Nick's Weird Games to round out the day. But first, how much did you guys catch of the PlayStation experience, by the way?
Probably like the last half.
Yeah, last half year as well.
Oh, right on, okay.
I caught none of it, but I have a lot of opinions.
Good, yes, that's exactly what we were hoping for. So, I think the big story that we got to start off with for the PlayStation experience is Final Fantasy VII. We're all talking about it. We all know it exists. But there's kind of a big, upsetting bit of news, I would say, coming from it right now, that Final Fantasy VII's remake is going to be an episodic release. So it's not going to be all contained in the same game, which, you know, when you think about it, does make a little bit of sense. But they've confirmed now it will be released in multiple parts.
I think we should just temper using the word episodic, because the way I understood it is that it's 3 parts, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's episodic. Like, they could break chunks of it into pieces that fit their own themes, versus something that is continuational from one point to the next. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but
we don't know the difference. We don't know the difference yet.
We don't know exactly what they mean by it, but we do know that Final Fantasy VII Remake will not be one game. We know that there will be parts of it spread out across multiple titles, which is sort of the bad news, I guess, that we're getting.
I'm of two minds about this. Maybe you talked about this during the 30 seconds while I was gone.
I doubt it.
But I feel like this is a case of people immediately assuming the worst from the announcement of being like, okay, well, they're going to remake like my favorite game from my childhood for like $60. And now they're like, it's going to be episodic. And they're like, oh, shit, is that like Final Fantasy 13, where they're going to do like a 13-1, a 13-2, and a
Cloud
13-3?
Returns.
Exactly, at like $60 or $70 each. Or is it going to be like Hitman is supposedly, you know, the same publisher, although probably a different wing of it, that it's going to be where they're like, well, you're going to pay like $20 for the full game shell or something like that, and then future episodes are going to cost more on top of it. So until we know more, I can't really get too mad, but I can see why people would be, because like, especially people who really wanted Final Fantasy VII to be remade for like 15 years, and then have it come out and be like,
yeah,
we split it up.
Yeah.
You're like, just make it.
Right.
Right? Just do it.
I saw some very fallacious reasoning on Twitter of someone conflating this thing where it's like, well, you guys do remember that Final Fantasy VII came out on multiple discs, right?
I saw somebody
Yeah.
say
It's
that
like,
too. I'm like,
that is not the same thing.
I'm like, you realize Blu-rays exist now, right? You stupid fucking idiot.
Did they
You
charge
remember-
$70 per disc? No, it was one release. Come on.
You remember when you
I
went to
guess-
Toys R Us and you'd be like, "Hey, can I get like just episode 3 of Final Fantasy VII? Can I get just the mount? I forget what the mountain's called. call it Mount
I'd be
Zidgar?
curious
No,
if
that's
it's going to be multiple,
Nibelheim?
like parts for the same game. I'd be curious what the pricing model is going to end up being. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't. If it's going to be like $20 an episode and it's 3 episodes, fucking all right, whatever. I'll just wait for all 3 episodes to come out and I'll buy them all at once and I'll be happy there.
It's
But
not
I
gonna
don't.
be $20. It's going to be full price.
But if it's
pre-sale.
gonna be like $60 for part 1 and it's like the first third of the game that I paid $50 for back in 1995, then or 7 or whenever it came out, whatever. Fuck it. I don't know if I'm gonna be happy with that.
Oh, well.
I don't know.
Inflation and the rising cost of hype, right?
yeah. Now I don't know how much of an allegiance you guys have with Final Fantasy VII. I've got a personal strong tie to it
As do I.
as a childhood wonder of mine, but
Mine went like this.
yeah, okay, that's fair.
It was my very first RPG.
That's good too. Yeah, no, I think that's sort of what it was for a lot of the guys or gals in our generation that have grown up in about this era of games. Final Fantasy VII, it's obviously, it's got its legacy. It's cemented as probably one of the best RPGs ever made for the PlayStation at least. But it's got, obviously a very big cult appeal too. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait. That's more along the lines of what I'm getting at. I don't think I'm going to be waiting for every single episode to come along, man. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be pulled in hook, line, and sinker on this. I'll tell you what.
Well,
Square Enix is seeing the dollar signs, and I am providing them the dollars.
How do you feel about its crossing into the action RPG realm instead of it being the usual turn-based system?
Yeah,
I'm
that's definitely
super
interesting.
cool with that. I love that idea because I think somebody kind of voiced my personal opinion well on Twitter as well. Is like, I already played Final Fantasy with turn-based RPG countless times. I know how that game plays. I'm ready to play the same story that I want to relive in a more modern, graphical setting with voice acting and stuff, but new gameplay elements to keep me engaged in a different way. If I wanted to play another
Right.
turn-based RPG, I mean, Final Fantasy VII's on Steam super cheap. I can go do that right now.
It's also on PS4 now.
And I've played Final Fantasy VII more times than I can count, but I'm totally down for the action RPG element of it.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm with you, but the one thing that I wasn't thinking about at first and sort of just dawned on me recently is so what about stuff like boss fights? Are we getting into Devil May Cry levels of dexterity-driven gameplay, or is this still going to have the same level of tension? Because think about the weapons and things when you're fighting.
I mean,
it's
as far as
very tense.
combat is concerned, again, we've only gotten a very tiny sneak peek as to what it looks like.
Yeah.
It could be something like Xenochronicles X. I don't know if you played that on the Wii U yet. I've been watching some people play it. Yeah, I've been watching some people play it. It looks like it might be similar to that, where it's real-time strategy, but if it's actual action RPG, then yeah, maybe it'll be more Devil May Cry-y. I don't know. I guess it depends on what route of action RPG they're going.
Right.
Are they going to go combo, heavy, light attack, all that good stuff? Are they going more like Xenogears or Xenochronicles or whatever it is in that regard?
So it's built off
Xenoblade.
of the Xenoblade. It's built off of the Final Fantasy 15 engine, right? Or
No,
I was hearing
it's,
it's
Unreal
Unreal.
Engine.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
Unreal
4.
4.
Got it. So
Which
that
is-
would be. I've been reading a lot about whether or not there's okay. So here's the obvious part: is that this is going to make Square Enix a ton of money, right? I think the Final Fantasy VII remake, far and away from everything else, Square Enix is looking at this, right? This is going to make a shitload of money. So let's just make a lot of money
be-
from this.
The best they've ever done with any release.
Yeah.
It has to, yeah.
But I've been reading a lot about whether or not they were trying to just get a lot more value out of the Final Fantasy 15 engine too, which clearly is not the case now because they're using it or they're building it with Unreal Engine 4, so that's not going to be happening. But it does look an awful lot like Final Fantasy 15, which is still very interesting. And I wonder maybe if they're not trying to get more value out of that engine, if maybe they're trying to drive their fan base more toward those sorts of games so that they can continue to build off of into that same realm,
It could be, but it also could be target footage. They might not have things
that's
ready to
true.
go, so they might just be using that engine to mock up something for trailers and things.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it just happened. This announcement just happened recently, and we already have footage, which seemed very quick, quick to move.
I was not ready for footage. I did not expect that they would have gameplay footage.
And it was good looking. Like, it really
got.
got me a little bit excited, which I didn't really expect. I thought it was going to keep sort of an even keel on the hype levels for this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how far away is it, do you think? Maybe a holiday 2016 release?
It's really hard to say.
I don't know.
I got nothing.
I think it's too early to tell. Like, Final Fantasy VII was a huge game. It depends, like, with it being an action RPG, can you still sustain, like, an 80-hour game the same way you could sustain that with a turn-based battle system? Like, is it actually going to take you, like, 15 minutes to fight, like,
Ruby Weapon?
that weird-ass snake in the mountain that always kills you on this one?
No, you're totally right. I mean, there's a ton of padding with random encounters that wouldn't be there necessarily if you can see the enemies and avoid them.
So, like,
I've never thought about like how artificially inflated the length of the game is, just based on little things like that.
Turn-based combat and whatnot makes games way longer. It's incredibly
And
long.
it's just frustrating a lot of the time. There's so much just artificial stuff in your way that you can't even tell is there.
Well, a lot of the older RPGs, JRPGs, especially PlayStation 1 era, man, those games required you to grind like a motherfucker. Like, a lot. So if you went to an area... I remember my first time ever playing through Final Fantasy VII, I was, like, only level, like, mid-40s when facing Sephiroth at the end. I just kept getting...
Whoa, spoilers!
Yeah, I know. Whoa, sorry! Oh,
Game's not even out yet.
After Aerith died and Barrett got his replacement
What?
hand cannon.
Oh, no. The first game that made me cry, though.
After you dress Cloud up as a woman and take him into the brothel with Don
Oh,
Julio.
yeah, I forgot that
That
happens.
scene's going to be interesting. They're probably not going to cover that part.
They got to do something, yeah. Like
They better not
that doesn't
fucking
play
cut
right
it
in
out.
2015.
That was integral to the story, man. That was really important.
It was like
Nothing is that integral to the story.
That's true.
But grinding is hopefully not going to be a thing. So I'm curious, the length... Yeah, you're right. The length of the game could be drastically shorter.
How do you know it's not going to be a thing?
I mean,
You
it
still
could
have
be, but I
grinding
feel
in an
like-
action game.
What games are very... Well, I guess Xenoblade is super
Fucking
grindy.
Dark Souls has grinding in it if you want to.
If you want to is the but that's but just saying if you want to change it, like Final Fantasy, the old Final Fantasies, you needed to grind if you were going to beat certain things, especially the end boss. Cause
I wouldn't call like
bitch.
there's a very stark contrast there when you're talking about a comparison between old school RPG grinding and Dark Souls grinding, because with the RPGs it was the quintessential definition of grinding, where you had just the same enemies that you had to fight over and over and over and over and over and over again just to be able to
Running in and
progress.
outside of the door in Darkroot Garden over and over, then standing next to the cliff so they fall off is literally that definition of grind.
Okay, but come on.
But I kind of feel like people who did that, they did it to themselves. Like, you didn't...
I know, I don't disagree.
I've beaten Dark Souls without waiting for everybody to fall down at the Darkroot Garden cliff. But I grinded a ton in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, I in my entire playthrough through Dark Souls, I never felt like I needed to grind in order to progress, and I think that's maybe the bar we're setting.
There's other examples, I just don't know what they are off the top of my head.
But still, like, that's what I'm saying, is I was able to play through the game with, well, okay, obviously it wasn't with no difficulty, but I was not restricted by my level, really, at any point. So that is where, you know, games like Final Fantasy VII, they did struggle with retaining interest, at least in my eyes, with those sorts of things. It makes it very difficult to want to push through. Although, you know, back when I was younger, I didn't really have that jaded cynicism that I've developed now at this old age, so I didn't ever really have a problem with that.
Well, you know what was interesting, too, is back then I think a lot of us were not even introduced to the concept of grinding being like a mechanic.
Yeah.
We were just like, oh, there's a bunch of stuff in the way that we might need to fight a lot of times. We didn't like have a name for it, and it wasn't established as a thing we've done.
Yeah.
So it's just the progress of getting to the end involves this.
We would get to school the next day boasting about how many green slimes we had killed in the orphanarium.
It's Dragon Quest, you liar.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So
Green
some
slime's
people have been
hypervasive.
saying, what if they just split the game episodically where the discs are split? And I hope that happens because I can't wait to see the backlash when episode 3 is like $30 just for the final boss. People would lose their minds.
Pardon me for stealing this joke, but episode 3, disc 3 is just the entire Knights of the Round animation. Yeah. That's all it is, just one disc. Every time we want to use that, you have to pop in the disc to use it and then go back to the other one.
It'd be really silly, too, because I've seen a lot of people say that the game is just so massive that they're forced to put it on 3 different discs. Well, you got to remember, first of all, that's silly. Second of all, the whole open world map, the whole open world map is on each disc.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's parts where you've got to backtrack. Maybe the story and the scripting parts are not laid out, but you still can go to all the places.
You're telling me in a day and age where we buy a disc and we put the disc in and then the game then downloads 30 gigs extra to play the game that it can't fit on one disc? Half the game is downloaded via the internet anyway, you idiots!
We agree that they want more money and that's why they're splitting it onto 3 discs.
Don't call them idiots. That's not nice.
Or it's possible that like maybe they actually feel it's a story that should be told episodically.
Just come out and say that. I'm totally okay with it.
Yeah.
Or they're like, even if they don't want more money, I mean, they want more money, but even if they're not exploiting it for money, they might want the money faster. And if they
fund the second and the third part.
Exactly. If they can come out with episode 1
faster,
if they only have to do episode 1, if they can come out with it in like 18 months instead of waiting 2.5 years to come out with the full game, I could see that. But
I will buy that. That makes a lot of sense.
I would buy that they want to get it out faster, yeah. And
I will. I'll also buy that they've been hyping this up for this many years. They're like, well, let's run the value proposition. Well, if we can make $20 billion, we'll do that.
Yeah.
But if it's
only
$1 billion, no.
The PlayStation 3 tech demo when the PS3 was like brand new.
Yeah.
How long has this been in the works, do you think? Because you say they've been hyping it up for so long, but to be honest,
I mean the concept of it.
Okay,
I guarantee that at some point during the PlayStation 3's life cycle, it was probably in the basis of development. Like, they were like, I bet we should, people want it, we could do it for the PS3. Something got in the way, maybe other Final Fantasies, the MMO and all this other stuff, and they kind of back-shelved it for now. And then they were like, now they need money or something, and they want to get Final Fantasy VII out there.
Well, remember, even devoid of the amount of projects that they probably had in the pipeline already, there was such a period of time there where they were adamant about the fact that they could not do it.
Yeah.
They couldn't.
It's possible. It's very possible that what they wanted to do or envisioned, maybe the PS3 hardware wasn't good enough.
I don't understand this comment of we can't do it.
Well,
what does that mean?
No,
that's what I'm saying. I don't get it either.
They almost defined it as we literally do not have the capabilities to remake that game by modern standards.
You can say we don't want to remake it, but you can't say we can't.
That's almost what they were saying. It's just.
Well, I know. I remember it too.
It's a weird, like, what they're basically saying is that the way it seems is like the PlayStation 1 was more technologically advanced relative to its time and the standards of the time than the PS4 is now. And that's the kind of thing that I've never heard anybody else say ever when they're making a game. Is like, it does come across like an excuse. I mean, we don't know the constraints of development, but like, what do you mean you can't make it now? You have better hardware.
I wonder if we could make some sort of comparison. Like, we have Just Cause 2, right, which we can literally define as over 1,000 square kilometers of explorable space in-game. So, take all that scaling for character size into consideration and all these different bullshit variables. But
even Xenoblade is huge.
Yeah. No, well, Final Fantasy VII is not the only game that's gigantic, is what I'm saying. And there's obviously been other games that have been remade that maybe have even a comparable size. So
it's not even gigantic in the same way as Just Cause. It's a bunch of tiny little scripted corridors and one open world with more scripted corridors.
Yeah.
It's not one massive world that you always can explore freeform streaming to you.
No, but I'm hoping with the remake it becomes that, like it's an open world.
I wouldn't count on it.
But I don't expect it to be that. I don't expect it to be what it was in Final Fantasy VII on the PS1, where it was just like a flat plane of little town icons that you fly your airship into and then
I
loads.
want that, honestly. I hope they do that. That'd be great.
If we're lucky, we can end up with something like Final Fantasy XII, which actually was kind of one open world streaming situation.
The best Star Wars Final Fantasy game of all time.
Yeah, closest to it. I mean, it still had
my favorite.
Quite a few divisions, but
I think Final Fantasy XII was fantastic. I thought it was a great game.
Yeah, I agree.
The remake for that.
It was quite good. We'll have them all, man. We're gonna get every single remake. We're gonna get 6. We're gonna get 4.
I hated 13. I'm trying to I didn't hate many Final Fantasies, but 13 I did not like at all.
Yeah, we already got 10, so that's already done.
Yeah, but 10 a few times has been remade.
10 and 10-2 twice. Which is totally ridiculous now that I think about it. All right, let's go into a different PlayStation experience story. How about that?
Yeah, sure.
Dreams come true with Ni no Kuni 2. You guys play Ni no Kuni 1?
Ding Dong Dell.
Yeah, man, now you know. Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom was announced at the PlayStation Experience last week. Not a lot of details to it. Follows the story of the young king from the first game. What was it? I think it was Edwin? I want to say Edwin.
I didn't play
Something
it, and
like
I'm
that.
sad.
I didn't play it either.
That's all
I
right.
own it, but I haven't played it.
I watched Kate play it. But I
Okay,
don't remember
so
the name of the protagonist.
yeah, that's all I wanted. That's basically the news. We don't have a ton of insight on that one, but it is noteworthy. Ni no Kuni. Well, I do want to mention the fact that it is pretty awesome that Ni no Kuni is getting a sequel. That was I think a pretty bold step for
Level 5?
Yeah, that was not really anything similar to Ni no Kuni was really making waves at that point. So it's not a brand new genre that they're breaking ground on, obviously, but it's something that, especially for an American audience, I think it was a pretty tough sell. So I'm glad to see that it did well enough to merit a sequel. That's pretty impressive.
I never played the first one, but I only heard good things about it. So
I heard it was very grindy, actually.
did you? All right.
It definitely was. Yeah, I only played
Did you play it?
Yeah, I played 6 or 7 hours, I think. I borrowed it from a friend, which is a weird concept in this day and age. But I agree with that. It was a little grindy. The story is definitely the strongest part. It had a very Studio Ghibli feel to it, which is always awesome. And then
And they look gorgeous.
yeah, oh god, yeah, it's beautiful.
Wasn't it produced in conjunction with Studio Ghibli?
I think so. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say, but I wasn't sure. There was some sort
I
of
thought
Studio
that
Ghibli
was the one
association with it.
noteworthy element about it, mostly.
Oh yeah, Studio Ghibli was part of it. Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. Well, there's that explanation. But yeah, obviously reviewed very well as well, so very, very exciting to see that story progress, and we'll have to look more into it.
They just released a couple level 5 games ported over to the PS4, and one of the ones that I never got to play was Rogue Galaxy. Did anybody play that?
No, people have been talking to me about it.
I remember when it came out, and it was during I never got to play it for whatever reason, and I wanted to because it looked great, but it just got ported over, and I heard it was really good. I mean, it looks like a level 5 game. It was a PS2 title initially, and it still looks like because of their art style, I still think it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, sorry, I am pulling up PS4 gameplay of Rogue Galaxy right now. Just
Oh, okay.
But it is not good, so I'm not going to show it. Okay.
You better,
No,
you
it's
better
a
hope
bad-
that Ni no Kuni 2 comes out before Yokai Watch takes off in North America, man.
I don't
Level
even know how to
5
respond
just
to
be
that.
making Yokai Watch sports edition, Yokai Watch Pachinko, Yokai Watch.
Yeah,
like,
and
get ready.
Kate would buy
Rip the
every
lever.
single one of them.
Wait, what's a yokai watch?
Yokai Watch is their
The new Pokemon.
DS Pokemon kind of type game. There's a couple out already in Japan, and the first one just came out in the US last week or the week before.
How do you spell
Yeah.
it?
Yokai, Yokai.
It's just Yokai Bear.
Come on, Jesus.
know,
Sound it out, Bear.
Yokai.
Sound it out with me, buddy.
Yokai watch. This is brand new information to me.
It's like a Pokemon game, but I hear it's very
It's like ghosts, right? Or demons or
Yeah,
something?
there's spirits that the child can see with
There
his
was
Yokai Watch.
It's like
Oh.
Bleach, but with a watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take your word for that one.
Yeah,
But I do
never
believe
seen
it.
Bleach.
I'm just scrolling. I need you guys to tell me more about Yokai Watch. I'm learning
Why?
all I can. I'm scrolling through the Google image search for it now. This is my new entire world.
The Mr. Yokai, I forget his name, but he's a kid, and he's got a cat that follows him around called Jibanyan, and he's like an orange cat that gets into a lot of mischief.
Oh, he looks like he
Whoa.
does. Yeah.
And
Do
he's-
you collect the demons and shit? Is it?
Yeah, I think you'd catch the demons using the fight or something. There's also that white cat. Is Koma-san. He's like a more mystical kind of guru
Oh, yeah.
cat.
He's got
Oh,
weird
yeah, okay.
spirit eyebrows.
Yeah,
His
that's
mouth
about all
is
I know about
fucked
that.
up, man. He's got that Joker looking crease blue lips mouth smile.
well, let's
freaking me out.
not say things we can't take back.
All right. Moving on with PlayStation Experience, now that I know all about the Yokai Watch. Well, actually, I think that might have been just about it. I do want to mention, because it's probably noteworthy to a lot of people, that Yakuza 0 is going to be coming to the PS4, so definitely noteworthy.
Never played. I played the first.
This is
Yakuza.
like
That's it.
the ideal PlayStation experience for like 15-year-old me. Final Fantasy VII remake, new like JRPG you could put like 400 hours into.
That you'll
A
never
Yakuza game is coming to America.
How many of the Yakuza games have you played?
0.
Oh, okay.
played.
But
all
if they
the first
came here
one.
when I was like 15, I'd be all over them.
Yeah.
Well, the first one came out around that time. The first one was I played all of the first one and like some of the second one, and then it got weird after that.
When did the zombies happen? Was it the 5th
That's
one?
yeah. It went from super serious like crime drama beat 'em up story to like zombies are attacking, and I was like, all right, I'm not interested anymore. I have no idea.
I remember at GameStop, I think I unpacked the 3rd one and we like gutted it and put it on the shelf and stuff. And then like a week later, the next one came out, and I was like, "What? Wait, didn't one just happen?"
Yeah, I remember liking the first one a lot though.
Sweet. Another big story, Rez.
Oh yeah,
Everybody
VR
played Rez, right?
Full body vibrators now.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah,
This
it's
is gonna be
26
awesome.
point vibration suit.
Is this actually like the people who were in like college for game design and programming and art are now in a position in 2003 are now in a position where they can actually make like programming decisions for publishers? Because this is what I'm seeing right now. Is a lot of like stuff from or maybe these are just cherry picked news stories, but a lot of stuff is like, hey, remember this game you liked from 2005? It's
back.
finally back. And Rez is
They're just out of new ideas. That's all it is. They're just mining shit that we've already done because they know it's got a guaranteed history.
Look, man, I'm not even going to be salty about it. I'm just going to be excited about the fact that all of my favorite games are being remade in the most
VR.
glorious ways. Yeah. Rez PS4 on, like, in PlayStation VR, that shit is my literal wet dream as a 13-year-old playing video games, man. That is awesome. It's so cool.
Do you not feel like that would make you throw up in 3 seconds, though?
Look at this
I
dude in the
would
light-up
bump.
suit. That thing was synced to the game. That's cool
Are
as
you going to
fuck.
have a light-up suit, Bear?
Yeah, I already do. I built one.
I would vomit instantly, but I get motion sick very easily.
Everyone's
I'd be
going to
like-
get sick,
I'd be
yeah.
like, woo! That was
Oh, yeah, everybody's super
Rez.
excited for Rez VR. How many people bought like Child of Eden? Like 40?
Yeah.
It's like I think that the market for it is overstated, which I don't think should mean like they don't make it. I just mean like I'm not gonna get excited about it until it comes out and is great.
The
I
problem
guess.
with Child of Eden is it required the goddamn Connect.
Okay, but the freaking Rez suit is not a barrier to entry apparently.
The res suit, I think, is optional. I don't think you need the res suit.
You need
You're-
VR
Do you need VR, or is it going to just
to
be
play,
a play?
to play it in VR, which is I thought we were talking
Right,
about.
but what if I don't have a VR thing? Can I still play the game?
Why don't you just play the Xbox
play Rez.
360 one then? Yeah,
Because you still need. Oh yeah, did it come out on 360?
yeah, there's an XBLA version.
Yeah.
See, didn't even know that.
So
Damn.
which way is it then?
I have
Huge
no
fans of
argument.
Rez.
I'm not a huge fan of Res. I'm not. I've never played Res.
I'm not
I-
even going
I
to say I'm a
should-
big fan of Rez. I just like what it is.
massively into this because it's exactly in my wheelhouse. And for me, the amount of enthusiasm that I can muster for this is that I will be as excited if I can get this in 2.5 years after I've already had a VR headset for like a year and a half, and it'll be free on PlayStation Plus. That's how far I'm willing to go for that.
So which way is it then? Is it that Rez is selling the PS or the PlayStation VR, or is the PlayStation VR selling Rez?
The second one.
Second one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would agree with that.
That's fair. I love the future, man.
I think Rez is one of those things that like
Future,
people get excited about, but then when it comes time to actually put down like $60, you're like,
Well,
I
$60
could
for the
just-
game, and then how much for the VR edition?
well, I mean, like
Yeah.
if you already have the VR, even I think you go like, well,
Okay.
I could throw out $60 for Rez.
I'm not sure anybody's buying this if they're not buying it with the VR. I'll be honest about that.
We don't even know if it's packed in with the VR. Like we don't. The VR could be out a year and a half earlier. Like I'm just saying, when it comes time to actually swipe your credit card to buy Rez, people, I think, oftentimes are like, I could just get the new Far Cry.
Yeah.
Same
Right.
price.
No, I think we're all agreeing with you. I think Bear's sort of saying what I'm saying, where it's like, I'll get this if it's free.
Yeah.
Which is not a great way to have a business, really.
I'll be honest now. Looking at the results for it on YouTube, just for the media player, this video has 10,000 views, which is not really that good.
No, not really.
Yeah. So I guess there's not really a lot of hype around this, at least not as much as I was initially expecting. There's some good Adult Swim releases actually coming down the pipeline for the PS4 as well. They got games such as Death's Gambit, which is one I think we've talked about before, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, looks lovely.
New Double Fine title called Headlander, which looks quite interesting, sort of
Also
a Metroidvania platformer there. Small Radio's Big Television. That one, did you guys see the
I did not see
trailer
anything
for
about
that?
that.
It was very interesting. I thought, if I'm remembering the right game here, let me just make sure that I'm not talking out of my ass. Yeah, Small Radio's Big Televisions. I thought it was like a jazz punk sort of game.
Okay.
Which I'd just be curious about the fact that maybe that's a pseudo genre that people would be pursuing more, is those sort of quirky joke within a joke, self-aware nonsense games.
This is an announcement trailer for the game, okay? It's got like 30 seconds of game footage. Here's one of the comments. I'll just wait till it ends up free on PS Plus. I give it 2 months. You know nothing about it, you cynical son of a bitch.
I give it 2 months tops.
Looks like I'm pretty good at predicting when games are going to come out on PS Plus. This game that we don't even know a release date for, 2 months.
I love that I just said that about Rez a minute ago.
You did, yeah.
Yes.
No, it's actually I may have been looking at the wrong game here. This appears to be sort of a 2D platformer. Yeah, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. But anyway, yeah, a few awesome Adult Swim games coming down as well. And that was just about all I had, unless there was anything you guys wanted to talk about from the PlayStation Experience.
You tell me the only thing that happened at PlayStation Experience was remakes and sequels.
Well, there was like every 5 minutes the Vita was mentioned. Like,
Okay.
You want to talk about the Vita again?
the
I
Vita,
thought they
also
announced
on
they weren't
Vita.
doing they weren't doing any more first party stuff for it.
No, they brought up the Vita like every few minutes. It was like
It was
also
surprising.
coming out on the Vita and the Vita and the Vita.
And the other thing was the VR circle jerk that never ended. They had like all of these like panels about the future of VR, and nobody really knew what they were saying.
Oh yeah, so there's like 2 other games that I remember. Well, one I remember seeing the PlayStation VR. Stop it, Maya. Demo of that failed, which was kind of funny, but that was just because of the live demo.
No, that was. Well, I mean, think of all the goddamn factors they employed into that one, right? You've got live wireless networking required for new technology that's never been tested before in a public setting, virtual reality interaction between 2 people. Like, it's
So
so many freaking elements to potentially fail there.
I can't be mad about it. It was funny,
Yeah.
but the Ratchet and Clank remake looked great. Because it was like a full-on from the ground up remake, so it looked beautiful. And there was Ace Combat, which some people gave a shit about.
There was Ace Combat.
Look, I can't muster much enthusiasm for it. It's just like the insanity of Metal Gear Solid put over a freaking flight sim.
Do you remember? Thank you. That's what I was tweeting. I was like, it's the nonsense story on a mediocre flight combat sim. I'm like, does anybody remember the
Some people
Ace
love it,
Combat
though.
5 and like how panned that game was? And you guys are pumped for the next.
It was
like,
panned?
It was so. That was the
Are you
Angels
thinking
one,
of
right?
Zero?
Might have been
thinking of Zero.
Could have been Zero. The
5
one
was
that
pretty popular.
I remember the story is just dumb, and then one of the kids in a cutscene was like, "Go fly with the angels," and I was like, this game." Is
Speaking of
stupid."
flying, though, how about Eagle Flight, right? Take on
Oh,
take on
yeah.
the role of an eagle and literally just fly around. It's the new Ubisoft game coming to PlayStation VR.
We took the eagle part of Assassin's Creed and made it a game.
So we
Flying
know that you asked us
dumpsters.
to take the seafaring and pirate parts of Assassin's Creed 3 and flesh that out. But what we know you didn't ask for is an entire game where you're just the eagle. Fly around. You can see.
Another bomb simulator for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about one where you just jump out of towers, and that's the whole thing? You just do like a flip into some hay.
Yeah, I want that. I want one
you're
where
right, that.
you are the tower.
All right. And then assassins climb you and look
Right.
around.
Mm-hmm. Then that gives you a real perspective. Then you understand the plight of the tower. I believe is the gist of it, though. I'm sorry to tell you, Ryan. Yeah, that's just about
Well, there was
the
the
synopsis of
zombie,
PSX.
stupid zombie taxi game. Also, people made a fuss about.
Oh
that
god,
one.
yeah, that one just looked.
Everyone
I mean,
that
that-
watched it was like, "Why is this a
Yeah.
thing?"
I mean, that's fine. It's like, I guess maybe it's one of those cons that's more fun to go to than it is to sit at home and watch new stuff come out about it.
I got sufficiently hyped for a good amount of things, but no, you're
Right? Like, I don't know. Look, I might be wrong here. I don't see you buying Yakuza, man.
no.
I
know.
really, I see probably people buying Final Fantasy. A lot of people, like a staggering number of people. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But like everything else that we talked about, I'm like, no, Yakuza's not making it over here. There will be like a niche audience that's cool with it, and that's fine. Like Rez is never gonna be like a system seller or something like that.
Well, now I did fail to mention one thing that may reinvigorate your interest
Oh, shit.
in the gaming universe as a whole.
Okay, yeah.
There's a new MOBA
Oh,
coming
I
from
saw that.
Epic
Oh,
Games.
God, that's right.
Yeah,
Tell me
man.
more. Bear.
Oh,
That's how they closed
have
out
you not
their
heard?
keynote.
No, I have. I'm
Have
just
you
supposed
not
to-
still making
heard
those.
about the
That's
new
how
multiplayer online battle arena coming from the makers of Gears of War? It's Paragon.
I forgot that's how they closed out their keynote. I blocked
That
it out.
was
I'm
the-
like, that's
that
how
was
you
the
ended your
last
fucking
game.
PlayStation keynote. Was
That
a
was the bombshell,
goddamn
man.
third-person action MOBA. That's what we needed. And it looks like the most generic third-person
Dude,
action
it could be
MOBA
the
of all
future
time.
of esports, Mathas. You don't know. It could be the future.
Do you think that like
I don't really.
when
think
baseball was invented for like 5 years after it, everybody was like, check it out. You know, baseball? I made like a new baseball, but it's a little different, and I think it's better.
No,
If
man,
everyone's
you gotta like.
there's
I already-
5 bases.
I already played I already know baseball.
The thing is, this
no,
isn't
hear
even
me out, dog.
This isn't even baseball. This is somebody else's like mod of baseball that got really popular, and now everyone's making copies of that. So we're playing fucking. Okay, I was gonna make a bad joke that would be very insensitive toward people who are fans of other sports, but I'm not gonna showcase my ignorance.
Yeah, it'd be like
of
if fucking
cricket. You're right. Yeah.
If cricket had like a new niche sport spun off of it.
Is it? I don't know which one came first. Between the two of cricket and baseball, one is just a mod of the other. That's what it boils down to. But no, you're right.
Cricket's fucking boring.
Wow, man. So is baseball, but I'm not gonna.
I
say
agree.
anything.
I will agree. Baseball is one of those things I put on my TV and then I walk away from and I just listen to from far away.
It's good for background noise, much like
It
this
is. It's
show,
excellent
for
background.
example. So we're obviously not ripping on things like that.
So, do you guys think 2016 is going to be the year that MOBAs crash and burn?
No.
I hope so, man, but that's not going to happen.
No, not at
LoL
all.
will stay. Dota 2 will stay. I think Overwatch is clearly going to do incredibly well.
Smite's not
Why do
going
you say
away.
that? Why do you know that?
It's because it's already people are fucking shitting themselves over it, like Hearthstone.
They are.
Or
They
more
really
so.
are. Yeah. It's not much different.
And with the announcement that we could tackle later, but with the announcement that all characters in future maps for Overwatch are going to be free and not paid for, I think people are going to be even more all in than usual.
Yeah. No, I agree. Smite, another big one, not going anywhere. Heroes of the
Smite.
Storm is still building an
So
audience.
there's like 6 or 7 big ones that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we scoffing so much that there could be one more?
Overwatch. Some people saying Overwatch isn't a MOBA. You're joking yourselves. It's a twist on the MOBA. It's the same team versus team objective based gameplay with powers and ultimates. It's part TF2, part MOBA. It is.
Yeah.
They probably want you to not call it a MOBA because that's a way for people who hate MOBAs to get into it.
Yeah.
MOBA is such an overarching
clearly
definition
inspired
too.
by it. It's got those big team plays. It's part
It's the future of
team shooter.
esports.
Yeah. With
I
Paragon,
kind of think of it like, I mean, I may have made this exact comparison on the show before, but it's kind of like MMOs and how, like, when World of Warcraft came out, it was huge. Everyone was like, we're gonna make our own World of Warcraft,
Age of Conan.
and then
God, Age of Conan. Yeah.
the majority of them did not succeed. I think it's fair to say. But World of Warcraft is still here, like, kicking it. And for a while, it was actually at, like, the height of its popularity with basically no competition.
Yo,
That's
but
the way I
where
feel
did
about
that-
MOBAs is, like,
Where did that Lord of the Rings MOBA go?
the trash can, I guess. I don't know. Like, I've not met too many people who play that in this day and age. But, like, I don't know how good it is. But, like, Dota's not going anywhere. League's not going anywhere. I think there's room for like some games to pop up. Smite's not going anywhere. But if we could just stop having like everything needs to be a MOBA, like
Yeah.
'cause it's such a like a one-to-one parallel. Lord of the Rings MMO, Lord of the Rings MOBA. You know, we had like a DC MMO. Now we had DC MOBA. Infinite Crisis, which shut down like a month or 2 months after it actually came out, after like 2 years of development. You know, we don't need like a MOBA of everything. It's like a breakfast cereal. We just need like we only need like great MOBAs, basically.
Yeah.
I think it's just too tempting for them. Like, they can't resist that the market could potentially bear one more, because from their perspective, it's the easiest thing to monetize in the world. It's infinitely exploitable, right? You can make an esports scene potentially out of it. The whole way it's monetized is sort of always in their favor, and it's always on DRM, which propagates itself. So everything is in their favor, and it's at our behest to like it or not, but they're going to keep pushing them until we can't take anymore.
But I feel like MOBAs like consistently fail though. Like I don't think it's like an easy cash in.
Right.
I think it's one of those things if you look at it from like a business standpoint and you don't know anything about games, you would be like, whoa, these games are like, look at this. League has like the most viewers on Twitch at all times. Dota's up there too. Like, we got to make our own MOBA to cash in, but then people just like completely ignore it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Like,
the reward is so high that it's worth the failure if it doesn't,
I mean,
like-
maybe, but
just in case.
I don't know. I feel like anybody who's, if they had like somebody on the, which I'm sure they do, this is an oversimplification, but if they had anybody like on the team pitching the game who had like had 1,000 hours in Dota, they'd be like, well, you know, you're signing the checks, but nobody that plays Dota wants to leave Dota for like, you know, Major League Baseball themed MOBAs, right? Like they already put in the time.
So there's obviously something that's drawing a lot of attention to Paragon, so we got to figure out what that is, right? I don't think it's offering something very unique. First of all, I'm going to get that out of the gate right now. That
Paragon is the one that was at the end of PSX.
Yeah, that's the Epic Games one, which is probably the majority of the reason why it's getting so much hype. Is just because it's Epic.
It's got
It's the one that looks like Gears of War characters smashing down upon each other.
Yeah, with dramatic music in the background as always.
And it's gorgeous. It really is very beautiful.
It's Unreal Engine 4 is gonna look that way. It's just how it is.
But what else is there? I mean, you've got it's a MOBA. You've got very easy classes. You know, it's just like it's simple, broad strokes. Just, you know, all the elements to the formula are there. It's just that it's Epic, and they have a track record. More or less is the only thing that I can really discern from it.
And then isn't there that other? I mean, this is kind of pulling it, but wasn't that other MOBA that got announced maybe a year ago now by the guy who did God of War and Twisted Metal?
Oh, David Scott Jaffe?
Scott Jaffe.
Yeah, doesn't he have a MOBA coming out?
I don't know.
I forget
not.
what it is.
Well, there's that one called Gigantic, but I don't think that's him. But there's another one to throw on the
Drawn
list.
to Death. Drawn to Death is
Yeah,
his.
that looked really bad.
That was,
Drawn to Death.
Wasn't that like
Is
a
it
MOBA?
just?
I don't think that's a MOBA. I think it's just like a deathmatch game.
Is it just me that when you announce a name like that, you can already like smell it? Like that doesn't mean it's destined to be bad, but you're like Drawn to Death. What is that even? It sounds like it should be a fighting game with like hand-drawn cartoon characters, right?
Yeah, it's got like
it's
3D
It's got like a
or
bit
Clay Fighter.
Yeah, they got ultimates and abilities, but I thought it was a MOBA, but I might be wrong.
Let's see. I don't know.
How in the world, if you don't mind me asking, is Drawn to Death anything like a MOBA? Is what he said. Okay, so I guess not. All right. Well,
Yeah,
if
no,
people
this
if people are calling it a MOBA, and then he's like, "How is it anything like a MOBA?" It's a MOBA.
Yeah. That's the best rule of thumb for it.
I saw the footage and it just looked like kind of like a first-gen Xbox Live Arcade game.
Yeah.
It didn't look like there was much going
But we
on.
haven't heard anything of it after the initial announcement, right?
Yeah, well, we've got
Like almost a year ago?
screenshots, which just looking at one screenshot, it is almost impossible to discern what's going on. Yeah.
Yep, it's a clusterfuck. It's a huge clusterfuck.
It really is.
And
Dude,
the
I
whole
love the
premise was
idea.
around like vulgar high school drawings on a pad of paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a high schooler who's like, "I'm imaginative."
The concept is pretty interesting, but I think if this is any indication, I don't even know how we got to talking about this, but anyway.
MOBA.
Yeah, the whole
You know,
MOBA
there's
thing,
like a
but-
lot of like free-to-play shooters with a strategy layer on top of them coming out, I guess. So this kind of fits into that. Battleborn, we already talked about Overwatch. Cliffy B's new game. What is that? Lawbreakers.
I forgot about that.
Lawbreakers. I don't even know what that is.
He's making it for Nexon. Well, he's making it for his own studio, but it's being published by Nexon. Right. Dirty Bomb, like there's a lot. Well, that's more of just a more traditional class-based shooter, I guess. But I mean, there's a lot of this stuff coming out right now. Again, we always talk about business. We're not business people. I'd be scared shitless if I was making a game that was like close enough to Overwatch to be comparable to it right now.
After Overwatch gets announced, you're like, all right, well, scrap it. But that's 2 years of work. Scrap it. But Blizzard is making their own version.
Why do people keep doing it?
I don't know, man. I guess
there has to be some money involved. Like there has to be they must make.
That's what I'm saying. It's the reward is so worth the risk to them.
I think there's most likely at least a handful of just publisher deals that were something along the lines of make us a MOBA and we'll give you this cash up front. It's just sort of an investment into it.
Blood money.
No, obviously for every MOBA that's blown up and done insanely well, there's probably about 1,000 that just were complete shit or brush over.
This is a genius idea. It'll make you millions, Square. Listen to me.
Okay.
Where is my Final Fantasy MOBA?
You really want that?
Give me every champion as a hero from one of the games, one of the main characters with their own unique skill set. Give it to me. I guarantee you it'll sell millions. It'll be terrible. And I'll hate it.
It'll be terrible. It'll be really bad. Are you sure you want this?
Millions. It'll make you millions. Look at Cloud's ultimate is Omni Slash. Is really easy.
Whoa, really?
Super
That's
simple
crazy, man.
That's a stretch. That's the issue I take offense to. That's just borderline ridiculous.
The thing that bugged me about Paragon was the trailer was like 1,000 levels more grandiose than anything that the gameplay will ever contain. And they even juxtaposed them next to each other. It was like Destiny levels of like, you're going to explore the world and learn about the everything. Yeah. But it's just freaking, it's dudes in Gears of War suits smashing down on each other with shields. That's the whole game. That's what it's going to be.
Does anybody here remember, as somebody in chat pointed out, and I remember, the Dead Island MOBA?
Yeah, man, Dead Island.
What? No, I forgot.
They sent me like 6 free copies of that.
I remember that. I think it's in my library.
I hear what you're saying, Nick, and I agree. I think I agree to an extent. I think if you make like a free-to-play game that also has the opportunity to like get people involved and pay microtransactions, you can win the lottery. But at the same time, I'm like, man, like Dead Island shut down their MOBA. Infinite Crisis shut down, and Dawngate. EA was like, we're gonna make a MOBA, and we're in. We're gonna do it for like 2.5 years, and then they were just like, we're gonna like stop production on it because we don't think it's gonna actually do anything.
Wait a minute.
People liked it as well, but
I think this wasn't this at a PAX at one point?
What Dead Island Epidemic?
No,
Dawngate. Dawngate was like, it was big on YouTube for a while. Like there were like TB was hugely into it, and like the people that are in the Blood Bowl chat were like, "Hey, anyone down for like, playing Dawngate for like 6 months?" People really liked it.
All right,
I don't get it.
I mean, there was a Magicka MOBA. Like, as much as I like Wizard Wars, like we don't need them to MOBA everything. Like it's getting a little out of control. People just don't care anymore. Like, does anybody at all care when they announce a MOBA? I feel like you just go, oh.
No. People are excited for Paragon for some reason. That's why I was trying to figure it out.
I don't think they will be, though.
When it's out.
They're just doing the hype machine thing where they just kind of go along with it until they get to play it or something.
I think there's still like an ever-dwindling percentage of people out there who go like, well, I haven't played a MOBA yet. Maybe this is going to be the one that gets me into it. And then, every year there's like diminishing returns on that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, though.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'd love to look at the numbers for the big three. Probably like League, Dota, and I guess what would be number 3? Maybe Smite would probably be number 3.
Smite would be my guess.
Probably, yeah.
Smite does. I mean, it has its own pretty popular scene. I mean, it's not huge by any stretch, but it's obviously profitable. They hold a yearly tournament for a decent amount of money.
Yeah, I would love to look at the trends. I'd love to see if they're comparable to the World of Warcraft subscriber trends. I don't know why I correlate those two, but it just seems like, there's
we just talked about parallels
there
between the two genres, and I think there are some, potentially.
Yeah. But as, World of Warcraft subscribers have been dipping, they're now no longer going to be reporting those numbers, which should be pretty indicative of how that trend is going.
This is not like...
You're now ashamed.
It's not a completely fair comparison, but I feel like when they announce a MOBA, it's almost like if I was like a doctor and I saw like an ad to go back to school to like learn a new career. You're like, I already did it. You missed your chance, Langara College. Like I've got my PhD. You want me to go back to get like a business administration associate's degree, start from the ground up again?
See, I like that. I like that an analogy though for it, because clearly in that situation, that ad is not aimed at you, right? So we've got to think about this as well. Clearly, the MOBAs are still doing well enough to where Epic Games now is thinking this is going to be a good foot in the door. So,
but I kind of reject the fallacy that just because they're making it makes it a good idea.
Well, yes, I think the thing is the numbers are so high at the top that there's still room for splinter other people to get involved, right? Mm-hmm. So even if you're moderately successful in a MOBA, it might still put you above where you could have been if you made an FPS.
Possibly.
Right. Bring back the Lord of the Rings MOBA. I think it's time.
Yeah, that's about it, right?
You can look at free-to-play stuff on Steam and be like, man, there are like 100,000 people playing this. That might be a little bit of a stretch, but like when Dirty Bomb came out, there were like tens of thousands of people playing it. If 1% of those people spend $50 on it, you're not making that much money, but over time, maybe.
I can say with certainty that there are still, let's just even look at it right now for Dota 2. Oh, I thought for sure that would be in the top 10. That's surprisingly not. There were 7.8 million Dota 2 players in the last 2 weeks. So, clearly they're still doing okay. But I would like to see the trends also, because that would be pretty interesting. But let's go ahead and move on. Let's go to the Game Awards 2015 that was just hosted last week. Pretty run-of-the-mill game show, or game award show, which is, I think, I'm glad this is now sort of the industry's award show. It's gone through a few over the course of the years. We'll all fondly remember Spike TV's show that was Spike TV's show. I guess that's pretty self-explanatory.
That's where they announced Dark Souls 2, man.
That's true, they did, yeah. That was pretty big. But in lieu of spending a bunch of time here, since we're probably going to have our own end-of-the-year Indie Roundtable discussion again, similar to the way that we did in 2014, I figured maybe we just do a quick rundown of some of the big awards and see how we feel about the nominees and the winners.
Before you do that, let me poke myself in here, because the Canadian Video Game Awards happened last night.
Oh, really?
And there's a lot of great games that are made in Canada. I want to give a huge shout out to Ubisoft Quebec Game of the Year, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Didn't think you had it in you.
Congrats, guys.
Well done.
Kidding, right?
Ubisoft wins almost all of the awards every year.
Because it's like just them?
Hold on now. The year I moved to Vancouver, the Canadian Video Game Awards were here, and it was like Far Cry 3 just won everything. Dragon Age Inquisition won some awards, which seems strange to me because it came out in 2014, but they've already handed out the trophies and engraved them, so let's not get too bent out of shape. Clay won for Best Downloadable Game for Invisible Ink, which is cool.
Sweet.
I Love Potatoes won Best Social / Casual Game, which I thought was a huge upset, personally.
Yeah, wow, I really didn't expect I Love Potatoes to come in.
Little known.
Good for them.
And then, everything else is like Far Cry 4, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Far Cry 4, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Occasionally, Fans' Choice, Best International Game, The Witcher 3.
Good.
Okay.
The actual game of the year?
Basically. It's like, hey, we got to get some coverage for this. Like, not to disrespect my own country, but like, Best International Game. Give them a chance.
So the subtext of all of this is we all kind of think, for the most part, these award shows are big corporate circle jerks, right?
That's where I was going.
I just wanted to say
I don't know if I really feel that way.
By this concept, so we all are on the same page.
The Game Award shows was mostly just like, here's an award and 10 minutes of trailers for games coming out.
Commercial. The whole thing is a commercial.
Okay, so let's set the precedent there by saying that there's no way a show like this could exist if it wasn't in that format.
Of course, yeah.
Right? So we got to give them the benefit of the doubt there. But
does it matter that they do exist? It's kind of where I would go.
I guess if you're going to make that argument, then I have no ground to stand on. But I like it. You know, that's sort of the that's sort of what I was getting at the beginning there, where this has become a lot more pure, I guess is the word I would use for it, than award shows we've had in the past. So I feel better about this one than I have about award shows before.
There's a reason that I say what I'm saying, and it's because of the story we're going to talk about in a a bit, because I think that's a huge upset to the concept that I introduced.
Okay,
anyway,
I see.
sorry,
Yeah,
sorry,
that's all. That's all going to make sense in a bit. Okay.
They're like the baby of Jeff Keighley.
Yeah.
And he clearly has like a lot of passion for it. He's not just launching it to make money. He's investing his heart and soul. But I think it's one of those things where like you either care about this stuff or you don't. And like I don't really. Like I remember, it left like a really weird taste in my mouth. I remember watching them last year, and then at the end, they were like, you know, congrats guys, we got like Dungeon Defenders 2 one of the top 10 sellers on Steam during the show or something. And I'm like,
yeah,
you shouldn't do that. Like, I get that you're trying to like, because we've been there, we've been like that punchy underdog who's like, yeah, check it out, like. You know, indie developers like me because I'm helping them, but like that's not what your role is in the show. Is to like honor good games, not like advertise new ones, at least explicitly.
That also sort of has like that tackiness associated with when somebody's hosting a live show and they're talking about this hashtag that they're trying to get trending during it. And they're like, hey guys, we're trending worldwide. Keep that going. We're doing great, all of us together as a community. Look at us dancing.
I also feel really like, and this is, I am someone who has done like, you know, half-assed like end of the year stuff, and done categories like this. But as I've gotten older, I'm like, man, from a big show, this category feels weird. Like most anticipated game is like you don't have like an Oscars category that's like most anticipated movie, right? And when you say it like that, you're like, that of course you don't, because you don't know if it's gonna be shitty, right? Like, what is that just like manages? It's like this game has the most hype right now.
Those ones at least are like fans' choice, so it's not like they're the official, the panel of select.
I don't know what the validity is, though.
Right.
I saw on Twitter. They were trying to get the support for giving some award to No Man's Sky, and I was like, this game is not. No one's played it. What is the relevance of this?
Mark my words. 1 month after that game is released, people will be like, "This game is boring."
You might be right, and I hope you're not right. But anyway,
I do. I hope I'm not right too. But
agree
most
with you.
anticipated game, I can imagine it being like from 2 years ago. It's gonna be Watch Dogs is gonna be so good. Give the award for most anticipated game to Watch Dogs. It comes out and everybody's like, "Fuck Watch Dogs!"
I loved Watch Dogs, by the way. I thought it was awesome.
I'm just saying, general opinion.
I want to put that out there as much as I can because, goddamn, that game got some undue negative criticism.
I'm with you. Watch Dogs is okay.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Definitely okay.
We all think it's okay, so then we're not shitting
I thought
on
it was good. I was gonna go 8 out of 10 status for Watch Dogs, man. I thought it was pretty great.
I could consider that.
I'll give you a 7.
Thanks.
Something killed Mathas there. What was that?
It's called drinking coffee.
It's getting exciting, man. So let's run down the fans' choice. How about that? Let's go for esports team of the year. Well, where did you guys see this one going, huh?
I did not even see that part. I didn't see any of the awards. Dendy, so Navi.
B-team.
Was it Alliance? Who was it?
No, do you want to know? It was Optic Gaming, actually. Beat out SK Telecom T1, Team Solo Mid, Fnatic, and Evil Geniuses, if you must know.
For what esport was it for?
I don't know. I just said esports team of the year.
It's the video game awards, Mathas. Don't get salty they don't have a specific Dota esports category.
Well, then you can't compare the LoL team to the Dota team, all right? Different people.
This is like the Teen Choice Awards. You know, the best on-screen kiss, right? Like
best on-screen abs.
Juiciest midsection.
I really loved that video. I don't know if you guys saw it. Pro Jared did this video on April
Call of Duty
Fool's
team
Day.
one? Fuck Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's funny that I'm mentioning Pro Jared because he's actually guesting on Co-optional literally right now.
We run our podcast at a bad time.
Yeah, we sure do. We should consider changing that. But Pro Jared made this video earlier this year that was like top 10 dicks in gaming, just to be like so completely egregious about it.
That's funny.
Like
so
awful
great.
people or penises?
No, literally penises. Yeah,
okay.
he did a top 10 list of the best dicks in gaming. It was pretty great.
Good for him.
So let's actually run down the categories here. So let's go some of the big ones first of all. In best shooter, We had Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Destiny the Taken King, Halo 5 Guardians, Splatoon, and Star Wars Battlefront, and Splatoon took it. Shockingly.
You list the nominees. Did anybody see the list of winners? 'Cause
Oh,
we
I
could try
just
to
assumed.
guess.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. We
try to
should.
guess.
Okay, so we could probably do that. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we'll start after this, of course.
Yo, but I think it's pretty dope that Splatoon won.
I do too, yeah.
Yeah, I heard great things. I never played Splatoon, but I hear it's awesome.
I figured Destiny would win so they could chill the freaking Sparrow Racing League more.
No, that would make sense, right? So this is the argument to be made that the Game Awards are no longer about being corporate shills.
Right. There you go.
They're so much stronger now. All right, so yeah, if we don't know the nominees and the winners, so yeah, let's go ahead and play it that way. That sounds like fun. Let's go with Best Action Adventure. So, Assassin's Creed Syndicate from Ubisoft Quebec, Batman Arkham Knight from Rocksteady, Metal Gear Solid 5 from Kojima Productions, Ori and the Blind Forest from Moon Studios, or Rise of the Tomb Raider from Crystal Dynamics.
Metal Gear.
Yeah, it has to be, right?
Was that the Metal Gear one? I know Metal Gear won something.
Metal Gear probably won a lot, but it was indeed Metal Gear Solid 5 from Kojima Productions. So this is a nice segue, I think, into the big storyline.
Oh, there goes our game.
It is, though. It makes sense. So it's important to note that this is listed. It may not seem like that big of a deal, but it is. I think it is. That this is listed under the banner of Kojima Productions / Konami. So, like, I think there's some subtle jabs, the sort of just that were placed throughout the show. There was a lot of references to Kojima Productions. So if anybody doesn't know, Hideo Kojima is sort of the mastermind behind the Metal Gear Solid franchise and was obviously a giant part in what made Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain so good. And he was not allowed to attend the Game Awards last week, and Jeff Keighley actually got on camera and explained why that was. He described that Kojima was not allowed to attend the show by Konami's lawyers because they didn't want him to accept any awards on the game's behalf. So there's a lot of different drama behind Hideo Kojima's and Konami's relationship right now. A lot of it is sort of speculative, and I honestly couldn't tell you exactly what's happening behind the scenes because no one really knows. There's a lot of rumors going around that maybe he overspent on the budget for Metal Gear Solid 5. There's a lot of rumors that perhaps he slept with one of the executives' wives or something like that, which obviously is going to be a lot more baseless than a lot of other rumors. But
Jesus,
you know, in a general sense, it's very clear that they are not on good terms. So it was kind of a big slap in the face to see that Hideo was not even allowed to attend the awards, much less get up and accept an award or multiple awards, I think, for Metal Gear Solid 5. So how do you guys feel about this one? Let's just throw it out, lob it over home plate.
I thought it was very interesting because it felt a little bit like Jeff Keighley kind of broke ranks for this particular thing, and it was very refreshing to see somebody come out and actually, in a way, throw them under the bus, and they deserved it. Just saying, you never hear that tone. Mm-hmm. Not in an award show. Everything is so pro-corporation, pro-everything that's happening, and that was not pro-anything. That was a very negative statement. And I've never seen anything like that before. And it's almost right when I tuned in was right before that happened. So I was like, wait a minute, what just happened?
Yeah.
That was really weird. It took me a few minutes to process that.
You could tell when Jeff was speaking, too, that he was almost visibly uncomfortable saying what he was saying.
He said about 50 times in like 3 sentences.
He knew that he was basically firing shots at Konami with what he was doing up there.
Yeah.
How
good on him for doing it.
Konami
How
doesn't
can
give
they
a
stop
shit, though.
an adult from going to?
Legally, it's
like Jeff
It's
Keighley
all
was
legally
tweeting
binding.
like the first 10 people that respond to this tweet can get tickets. Kojima just like just follow Jeff Keighley on Twitter, man. Konami can't stop you.
Yeah. There's probably a clause in his contract, right, that says if you win tickets to the show, there's nothing we can do. You go ahead and try it.
honestly, like, it sucks, and I can't wait for Kojima to be free of Konami shackles because it's going to be soon if that hasn't happened already. Obviously, he's still legally contracted to Konami for now, but as much as I hate fucking Konami does not give a shit because they are just not doing video games anymore. They don't care. They've made it so clear that they do not care about the gaming industry anymore, and all they care about is putting their funds into pachinko and gambling, which is where they make most of their money, where they're making a ton of cash in that way, and that's all they care about. All they care about is making money, and if they see for whatever reason video games is not as profitable as it could have been or was at some point, and they've already very clearly turned around and turned their back on the video game industry, as much as we could fire shots at them, it's not going to change anything. They don't care.
Why this tone, though? They have to go out of their way to make life more difficult for Kojima. If they don't care, then why would they care?
That's what sort of lends credence to the idea that there's a very deep-seated sort
There's
of just
something going
animosity to it, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's got to be stuff that we just don't know about, as far as like maybe it's not as Kojima isn't as innocent as he's coming off as, or that we're portraying him. We'll never know. It'll all be buried under legal like jibber jabber that no one will ever be able to talk about what really happened. Kojima will eventually be free and make his own games under a different company or his own company, and we'll go on with our lives. It's what people are so. I think people are so mad. I'm mad too. It sucks. People are mad because we're losing a couple of our favorite franchises, Silent Hill, Metal Gear. They're all going to be buried and become pachinko machines and all that stuff, and it sucks. We will never know the truth. It's terrible. Konami doesn't care as much as we wish they did. I think they're just stopping Kojima from speaking out in the way. There's just shit going on that we'll never know about.
The franchises aren't necessarily dead. They can still license them to other people.
But,
if they care enough to, which is, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But I mean,
possible.
like, with the attitude that Mathas has described, I think they are effectively dead. Because with Konami right now, he's right. They are almost entirely invested in what has been a very profitable market for them, which is those pachinko machines. The adult erotic entertainment is more or less what they have now secured themselves in for the foreseeable future. It sort of is. It's like watching your best friend start doing hard drugs. Just like, come on, man.
And for some reason, he's making money while doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he became a drug dealer.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's become a heroin dealer, and you're like, dude, you were doing fine, just like working your cool job that we all loved. And
there was a thing shown a while ago. I can't remember what it was, but it was like where it was, but like it showed like the list of their most profitable ventures, and like their number one was pachinko, and like their video game franchise was like number 5.
Yeah.
There's like 4 things above video games, and it just wasn't making them enough money. And it's very I mean, I wouldn't put it past. Again, I think Kojima is an amazing developer. He has such a cool vision for his games, but I wouldn't put it past him for overspending, like for what he does. He's like, he has such grand visions.
Yeah. What's unfortunate, too, is that there have been a lot of stories about the work conditions over at Konami.
Oh, yeah,
as
I hear
well.
it's like slave labor.
Yeah, there's a lot of real... I mean, just think... You can see, I think, that's just sort of like an extension of Konami's corporate philosophy, the way that they're handling Kojima, is that they strong-arm everyone. They would much rather take the negative PR hit than allow something to go outside of their control.
Yeah. Basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, people are
get out of the industry then. Like,
yes, so yeah.
I mean,
well,
I
that's
know
what they're trying to do, right?
Well, yeah, but you're like, I mean, I know that it's not as simple as this, but just like do it. Like instead of having like these weird death throws, like why don't you just announce we out?
Yeah.
And then we can stop talking about them every
Well,
week.
they kind of are, like, because the developer studio that did Metal Gear Online, once it was released, they shut them down.
You're talking about Konami as a whole, right? Just
I'm
to
talking about
clarify that?
Konami as a whole. Yeah,
Yeah,
not Kojima Productions. Konami just being like,
Well, I just wanted to make sure you weren't trying to say, like, why don't the people working for Konami just go get a different job,
No,
like,
no, of course not.
No,
That's-
I'm just clarifying that, yeah.
yeah.
Just want to make sure, man. I'm
you
just
think
trying to keep you safe.
Do you think it's more valuable for them to hold these franchises hostage for the sake of their pachinko enterprises versus selling them?
I think so.
Do you think that leverages enough money for them that it's worth it to
sure it's huge,
pour out
'cause
those franchises?
Pachinko and all that stuff in Japan is gigantic.
Yeah.
Right, but
And,
you really care that it's
they-
a Silent Hill pachinko machine?
They
You
make
really don't
trailers
think,
for
like,
it, man.
That's huge.
Yeah, they make videos that are hyping it up. Like, look at this new Silent Hill pachinko
I've seen
machine.
the videos, but I honestly have no clue because I've never played a pachinko machine.
If I walk into a gambling, just like a slot machine thing in like the U.S., and I see one that's just a no-name slot machine or one of a video game franchise that I liked and enjoyed, I would probably go to that one personally because I'm like, oh, I know that. I would play that. Yeah, really. Why would you go?
I
to
mean,
the
knowing
no-name
that it wouldn't make
Why
a
would I
difference,
go to the
but
video
still.
game one?
one? But because it's something you recognize.
Yeah, I don't care.
I'm
Yeah,
on board
I
with you. I
didn't
think,
I would go to
I
it.
think
'cause
we're
I know it.
50-50 split here then, right down the middle. That I would be influenced in that same way, I think.
Yeah.
Weird.
Why
Not
don't,
even
why
like
don't
a
you
game
guys
like
think that
just
you
one
would...
you recognize? Like if you walked in there and there was like
A game I
fucking,
recognized
like,
and enjoyed, though. All right, put it that
like
way.
out of the park baseball 15 slot machine.
I would
Like,
absolutely play that. That sounds awesome.
Don't. Yeah, a game that I fucking enjoyed then, like a big AAA budget, like a Far Cry like slot machine.
Yeah.
You know, like I would
actually think
absolutely be
A Far Cry slot machine sounds annoying. There'd
You
be
know
like,
what I'm trying to say.
like,
You have to level up before you can unlock more ability to make money from
You have to
it.
climb on top of the machine so you can go see where the other
It's
machines
just
are in
fucking
the
brand
casino.
recognition. You're stupid if you don't think that you were influenced in that way in some way on a subconscious level every day.
Yeah.
I think people would absolutely 100% go to the especially if it's a beloved franchise like Metal Gear and Silent Hill. If you're going into a gambling parlor and you're like, I could play this one or I could play fucking the Silent Hill one, and I love Silent Hill, I'm gonna go play the Silent Hill one.
Yeah.
It's money.
I
mean,
won't because it'll make me sad.
yeah.
Hit the lever.
we just don't know, like what the cultural differences are over there. I guess is
Yes,
just a big
that's
part of it.
also
Though we don't know how big pachinko is, and just based on what I can read and see, it's massive. So it's a whole new world that I don't understand.
It was an honest question when I asked it. I honestly didn't know if it would influence me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We can see the writing on the wall, though. I mean, Konami is very clearly not interested in saving face with the gaming world. I think that's very clear.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go back to the video game awards for a bit here, then, I guess, and just just go, get around to fuck Konami in there if you want. Feel free to do
fuck
that.
Konami.
Yeah. Do it up.
Let's
Just get out, man. If that's like, I mean, just do it. Just go.
Yeah.
Just go.
This is like the dude tries to like leave the party and he's like, he like tips over like a vase or something on his way out. You're like, just get out of here.
Like, fuck you.
We don't want you here. You don't want to be here.
I
He's
thought you
like,
guys liked Silent Hills. I thought you thought it's a good demo. No? Where's the
Hey
party?
guys, yeah, you like Silent Hills? You like Silent Hills? Oh, don't. Come on, Konami. Don't. Hey, good job. That's. You could have given that to somebody else.
Oh, fuck
Come on,
them.
Konami, that was unnecessary, man.
You know what that? It's like when somebody like gets like take out food and then just throws it in the trash or something. Mm-hmm. And they're like, like I would have eaten that, man.
Yeah.
If I can't have it, nobody can have it.
Go play pachinko. You guys aren't cool anymore.
Michael, we don't want to play pachinko, mate. We want to experience the next generation in horror action.
I
knew
think that's
he'd
the
be the
first
progressive
time.
one.
I think that's the first time
Otherworldly
Roundtable
terrors.
is getting this. I don't know if they've heard Michael Keaton v. Michael Caine before. This is a new one for all these Roundtable people.
I want to make Hideo Kojima brainstorm pachinko machines. Michael! He's the singular most talented mind at my studio. You can't be making pachinko, mate. It's just pins and balls.
Hey, come on now. We don't need to disrespect the glorious art of pachinko.
It's just pins and balls.
Best independent game here at the Game Awards 2015.
All right, who's up for it?
Star Wars Battlefront.
Axiom Verge by Tom Happ. Her Story by Sam Barlow. Ori and the Blind Forest by Moon Studios. Rocket League by Psyonix. And Undertale by Toby Fox.
Wait, was this the one where they didn't really announce it properly and then like two people kind of won?
I think it might have been, yeah.
Yeah.
The best independent game. Axiom Verge, Her Story, Ori and the Blind Forest, Rocket League, and Undertale.
Probably Ori.
What do you guys think?
I think I know, so I won't say anything.
Okay. What you got, Mathis?
Say Ori was probably the winner.
It was Rocket League.
Ugh.
I think well deserved. What was that noise?
Sorry.
Who likes that shit?
That game I have 60 hours in.
I don't think that
Garbage.
deserve like over Undertale and over Ori and the Blind Forest. I don't know.
I'm going to argue for it. I'm going to say Rocket League was far and away one of the most influential independent releases in the last 5 years.
I think it's probably my game of the year, to be honest with you.
I'm going to say all those games were fantastic, and any of them should have won.
All of them well deserved, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great nominees. This is a
I
strong
haven't played
year.
Her Story, honestly, but I
You know what the
heard good things.
freaking problem with Rocket League is that the whole industry has a huge prejudice against sports and racing games.
And
Even
this is
if
both
games
of them.
like Forza get well reviewed, when it comes time for Game of the Year stuff, unless it's a first-person shooter or an RPG or an action-adventure game, people go, "Oh, sports or racing game like that can't possibly be game of the year. Like it's an inferior genre." There's still a lot of prejudice that we have to conquer in that area.
Best sports racing game.
It's Rocket League.
FIFA 16 by EA Canada. Forza Motorsport 6 by Turn 10 Studios. NBA 2K16 by Visual Concepts, Pro Evolution Soccer 2016 by PES Productions, or Rocket League by Psyonix.
Either NBA or Forza 1.
It can't
Not
not be
Pez.
Rocket League.
What do you think, Nick?
I want it to be Rocket League, but I'm
It is-
guessing it's not.
Rocket League.
It is Rocket League.
Rocket
Really?
League.
Yeah.
Rocket League won the best
Now that's a
sports and
category I
racing
can get
game.
behind.
When it's with other games you don't play.
It's
Is that
not-
FIFA or
Because
PES?
I would agree Rocket League is a great game, but I think other games were way technologically better than Rocket League.
So would you say that
Technologically,
the
that's the limit?
NBA 16 is a fucking. I played NBA 16 is a fucking better game than Rocket League.
Is
in my
Rocket League
opinion.
not
No!
more technologically
No.
advanced than Undertale?
It's a great game. Rocket League is a great game. I'm not arguing that Rocket League is not a great game. I think it's circle jerk to all fuck though. It's a great game. It's not that great.
No
Undertale
way, man.
deserved it more. Ori deserved it more. NBA deserved it
Well,
more.
Undertale wasn't in the last category.
But in the indie one,
Undertale
wasn't it?
should have been considered for best
For best
racing
sports.
sports game, man.
No,
I
I'm
don't know where
saying
that
like
mistake was
in the
made.
award prior. I'm the
I
award
know, I heard
prior.
you.
I
I
think
know a lot
Rocket
of people are
League.
salty there.
I think Rocket League was a better sports game than all of the other
Than Undertale.
nominees.
How can you be cynical that this like original game that was also very good beat out the 2016 NBA title from Visual Concepts?
Mm-hmm. The sixth Forza Motorsport game.
Because the better game.
I don't think so.
disagree.
That's a fundamental disagreement, I suppose. So there's not much further we can go with that.
Yeah, it's all subjective. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying NBA is not dope as hell. I hear that those games are really good. I'm just saying, like, if Rocket League hadn't come out this year, what would have been in the other spot? But probably like NHL 16. That's a nice
I
category.
can give you a weirdly insightful look into the comparison between NBA 2K16 and something like Rocket League. So, for example, I played a couple of 100 hours of NBA 2K14, and having played a little bit of NBA 2K16 now, I can tell you that I did not think it was a better game than NBA 2K14. So I think that alone should take away 2K16 from the equation. And then I really think...
I would disagree with you there as well, but that's fine.
That's fair, yeah. It's not a bad argument to say that, well, look at all these games, you know, like FIFA 16, Forza Motorsport 6, Pro Evolution Soccer 2016. I mean, these are all, if not annual releases, just, you know, like sort of the same stuff made a little better. And then you compare that with Rocket League, which is completely
an
new.
iteration on a game that they made that's a little bit better.
Oh, come on.
8
It's like
years
saying,
ago.
Instead, as opposed to every other game in that category, which is an even more
If you're comparing
minute
2K16
incrementation on a game they
to
just made.
2K14, it's 2 years difference.
Yeah, but Rocket League is 8 years separated from Super Acrobatic Rocket Power Battle
Yes.
Cars.
Mathas, did you even play that game?
No.
No, I didn't either. All right, I didn't think we'd spend that long on best sports racing game, to
I
be
didn't
honest.
either.
Let's jump over to let's see here. Let's just go up to Developer of the Year. How's that sound? 'Cause I don't think I want to
It's
do
got
every
to be
single
CD
one.
Projekt Red, right?
Well, that's certainly a nominee.
No, it's the developers of Rocket League, Psionic.
Bethesda
They
Game
made an
Studios,
original game.
Oh my
CD
god. calm
Projekt
down.
Red.
As opposed to The Witcher 3, which, you know, it's the first Witcher game, as we
I
all
think
know.
it's the first next-gen actual open-world RPG that actually pushed boundaries unlike Fallout 4.
You know, the more words you put on the end of it, the less original it seems.
I think it was the most original open world action RPG that came out in September in leap year.
Well, maybe by Polish developers from Krakow specifically, but
So you got CD Projekt Red, Bethesda Game Studios, From Software, Kojima Productions, notably again not listed as Konami, and Nintendo.
Wait, what was that?
developer.
Name again?
That was you want to just run it down the whole thing again?
Yeah, give me the all of them again.
Bethesda, CD Projekt Red, CD Projekt Red. Sorry
Yeah.
if I'm confusing people. From Software, Kojima Productions, and Nintendo.
CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
that
I'm
seems-
sticking with CD Projekt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are correct. I think pretty easy choice there, honestly. That's just a big accomplishment. And then Game of the Year, the big one. Bloodborne from Software, Fallout 4 from Bethesda Game Studios, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain from Kojima Productions, Super Mario Maker from Nintendo, and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt from CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, it was Witcher 3.
It has
It
to
was.
be. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Witcher 3. Super Mario Maker getting a nod, though. That was
Yeah, I thought that was wild too.
It was a great game.
definitely.
It's kind of not really a game. It's like a toolbox.
True. It's a valid
You
argument
can
to
play
make.
it as a game, though. If you just want to do 100-man challenge all the time.
I just want to shout out congrats to Ori winning Best Visual Design.
Oh yeah, that's
They
cool.
absolutely
Ori is beautiful.
deserve that.
Oh yeah, who was that going up against? Let's run that down real quick. That was art direction. Yeah,
I
that
thought it was called Visual Design, but yeah, it might have been Art Direction.
best art direction. That's wow, it was competing against some big names too. So look at this list. You had Batman: Arkham Knight, Bloodborne, Metal Gear Solid 5, and The Witcher 3, all
It's like
losing
exactly
out
the
to Ori.
same.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know where they
It's like
got
the
this
Game of the Year
list. There's like
category.
many more games than these, and yet only a few indies snuck in certain specific little corners.
I think it's really tough to argue that a lot of these indies looked better than things like Batman and Metal Gear Solid 5, because we may not look at games like this as having terrific art direction, but really when you boil it down, they invest hundreds of hours and multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars into these art departments.
Well,
So
look at like Metal Gear Solid 5. Like that is a game that isn't just technically impressive. Like it looks unique. Like the
looks-
color palette and the saturation in that is just like
What
it's
impresses
its own
me
game.
about Metal Gear Solid 5 is that not only does it look like incredible, but it runs incredible as well. Like Batman looked incredible, but was especially on PC ran like shit. But Metal Gear 5 like looked incredible and ran at 60 frames on all systems. Like, it just
For me, it was really just down to either Ori or Bloodborne, and
Yeah, I agree with that actually.
like those other ones, they're lovely. I'm not saying they look
Yeah.
bad, but they're sort of in a different league where they're more functional than aesthetically elevated. And Ori is just like leaps and bounds prettier than almost everything I've ever seen before. So I'm really happy they got that win.
did you feel that Bloodborne maybe suffered a little bit from the color palette? Sort of
Well, it's,
had
like,
that
super
same,
dark.
dark gray, brown kind of feel to it.
Not
really.
especially, no. I think they had enough going on with the specular highlights and stuff that made things really pop and look iridescent at times, or look really like there's a lot of fur effects and things flying around. If it suffered from anything, it's the fact that the freaking camera jumped around so much that you couldn't always see some of the starkly beautiful things happening around you.
Yeah, okay. Cool. All right. That's more or less the Game Awards, unless you guys had another category you wanted to mention.
No, that was pretty much it.
Congrats to Greg Miller for Trending Gamer. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Okay, next topic here. Sort of spurring from the Game Awards, actually. I think that was... Or no, they mentioned it, but I think they had a different announcement to make at the Game Awards. But Tim Schafer and Double Fine are announcing Psychonauts 2. It's happening. It's a big story, I think, for lots of folks, except Ryan. Psychonauts 2
Immediately left.
is in crowdfunding, and that normally would not even really be that noteworthy anymore, especially coming from Tim Schafer, who obviously has had plenty of success with crowdfunding.
Yeah.
But they're doing it on a new platform this time, and I don't know if you guys have even seen this website before Psychonauts 2 came into the picture. It is.
I have not.
It's fig.co. So it's like Kickstarter, but it gives you the option of investing in the game, like making a literal investment in the success of the game. So you can
So what,
put,
you get like an equity stake in their company?
yeah,
What does that mean?
basically, no, it's very surprising that this exists. I think, bottom line, I want to talk about that first. The fact that fig.co exists. It's a website like Kickstarter that allows you to both contribute in a way that you would on a website like Kickstarter, but also to invest in the game in the very traditional sense of what investments are. So I signed up for the waitlist just because I wanted to. Well, I want to do it, first of all. I want to invest in Psychonauts 2 because I think it's a good idea. But also, I am very curious how they're going to make something as complex as investing in... I don't even know if it's necessarily investing in Double Fine. I think it's more likely going to be an investment in Psychonauts 2 just as a game.
Are they incorporating Psychonauts 2?
Yeah, that's what there's a lot of questions that are brought up
company
as
now?
a result of that. Yeah. It's very surprising, but their goal now is $3.3 million, which I don't think is necessarily that far-fetched. Do me a favor real quick, though. Talk about this for like a minute while I let the dog out because he's crying.
Sure.
For every okay, this is for Psychonauts 2. For every $500 invested, you get $2.50 for every $68,376 in adjusted gross revenue until $13.33 million, and after that, $1 for every $68,376 in adjusted gross revenue. To break even on your $500, if you invest in it, Psychonauts would have to sell 736,000 copies at an average cost of $21 after Steam's cut. But if it sells 4 million, which is about double Brutal Legend almost, you would make $1,500 on your original investment of $500.
That's not worth it. Because it's not going to sell 4 million.
Yo, but what if it did, though?
What if it did, though? Yeah, that's what you got to think about.
This whole thing is interesting because
Stresses me out.
well, not even just the investment thing, but the crowdfunding and people so willing to give Tim Schafer money again after the conundrum that was Broken Age, the failure that was Space-Based DF9.
Well, hold on. Let me talk about Broken Age a little bit more with you here. So tell me about the conundrum of Broken Age, according to you.
Just the complete mismanagement of funds, the constant delays of splitting it into... people were just pissed in the way that it was released, and how much changed, how much feature creep ended up happening, and how much more money they actually ended up needing to finishing the game, because Tim Schafer just, or maybe saying him alone, maybe the company in general, overshot what they actually were going for, and ended up needing a lot more money and just mismanaged the initial funds. And then there's Space-Based DF9, which, of course... didn't even get fucking finished. There was so much promise, so much, and that was an early access venture that they just said, it's 1.0, have it, we can't do this anymore, there's not enough funds for it. And then there's other games like Massive Chalice, which I never played. Ryan, you played Massive Chalice though, right?
Massive Chalice was really cool, actually.
Did they finish it?
I didn't finish it, no, but they did.
Okay.
Good. I'm glad they didn't give it to you to finish.
I just feel like after like the past with Double Fine, the past few of the games that they've been doing that have been mostly crowdfunded, people so eager to throw money at them, it baffles me a little bit. Yeah. I'm not saying it won't happen, and I hope for the best for it because I would love to see a Psychonauts.
Well, I mean, they're well on their way already. They don't need MathasGames backing apparently to make a good $2 million off the bat. So that's they're going pretty well so far.
Well, here's something that I think is important right now. So they're advertising. 1.7 million units sold from Psychonauts 1. So you're like, okay, right? 1.7 million to break even on $500. They only have to sell 700,000. Yeah. That's not that crazy. Yeah. But first off, that's in 10 years. Like it came out in 2005, and these are current sales data. And then 736,000 of those are from the Humble Bundle. So you have to imagine the average unit cost on those is probably not $21.
Right.
Probably more like 21 cents, maybe. To be more realistic, probably like, I don't know, $3 or $4, maybe $6. But that to me is okay. You go here and you put 700,000 units, or basically I guess like 800,000, which is what they've got without the Humble Bundle, and you're making like $31 on your investment. If it does as well as Psychonauts did, and it took 10 years to get there, it kind of scares the shit out of me.
But at $500, I don't know if it's necessarily scaring the shit out of me. But if I'm thinking about making a big investment in this, I'm certainly... Well, okay, first of all, I think FFVII is not aimed at drawing in more real investors. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like, I'm thinking FFVIG is not them trying to find a few people who are going to invest 50 or 60 grand into Psychonauts 2. I think this is going to be 1,000 people invest $500.
Yes, I do agree with that. But at the same time, I'm like, well, okay, why? What would convince me to invest $500 in this? And what it is like, maybe I could make a couple $100 if it's outrageously successful. And if I lose, I guess I'm only losing $500. Mm-hmm. But if I really care about the game, why don't I just kickstart it? Or like, why don't I just contribute to the crowdfunding side of it, pay my $30, help fund the game in advance, and also just get it. And if it sucks, then it's just like, all I lost was my time and $30.
And the people who are getting the game via backing it crowdfunding doesn't contribute to the sales numbers of getting your return on your investment, correct?
I don't know because it says this arrangement allows you to share in the sales of the game on all platforms. Mm-hmm. So I don't know whether that contributes to, or whether the Kickstarter or the FIG contributes to that.
They are, well, I'll tell you the notice I got after I signed up for the initial investment offering was that, A, I am in like 30 or 350th position in line or something to even be considered for an investment, so there's obviously at least a small demand for it. But also that they are looking at Q1 of 2016 to even begin to open that up. So I'm really looking forward to the, hopefully, like, more details emerging once that begins to unfold. I hope that they really are pretty transparent about this.
Do you know what the process is for being considered for investment? Like, what are they looking for?
Well, they have two separate tiers of investment. They have unaccredited investors and accredited investors. So that's the accredited investors are the people that are going to be investing things like, you know, massive amounts of money into this. And those are the people that are probably not even going to be going through FIG. They're going to be the people that have their people contact Tim's people and say, let's figure this out. But I don't necessarily know much beyond that. That's just about like the information that they've got on the rundown page of what the investment actually is more or less all the information I garnered from being someone who signed up for the not the IPO, but the, what do they even call that? I guess just like opening the market more or less on the investments. This is making me want to learn a lot more about how investments work, honestly. This is very interesting.
Do you think this change in tone from using something like Kickstarter is more about placating people that have had enough of Double Fine's shit and are like, we want to be taken seriously as an investor, so we're going to give you something in return? It's more about giving this artificial prestige versus actually trying to garner more money.
Well, here's something that I probably should have mentioned a lot earlier on. This is probably a big influencer in this entire story, is that Tim Schafer is on FIG's advisory board. Yeah. So that probably had a lot of influence in them deciding to go this route. FIG was created by, I think, primarily by developers, honestly. I'm pretty sure. Well, okay, their advisory board has Brian Fargo, Tim Schafer, I'm going to butcher this name, Fergus Ukerhart? Something like that, but they're people that have a background in the industry, obviously. So I think this might sort of be a joint venture for Tim Schafer in allowing Psychonauts 2 to release, but also potentially starting up a new crowdfunding platform, which is
the idea. Like there's a couple of things that I like about this, and a couple of things that bother me about this. FIG as a platform. Now, I agree with Mathas. I really like a lot of the stuff that Double Fine has done recently, including Massive Chalice in particular. And I don't mean any disrespect to them as a company, but I would never crowdfund them on like a platform that actually provides me with real risk. Like I don't feel comfortable putting my money into there, but I would totally play the game when it comes out if it's good, even though I didn't like Psychonauts 1 that much. Don't hurt me. What bothers me about FIG is not the platform itself, which I think in a perfect world would be a really cool way to do kind of like micro investments. Yeah. What bothers me is that I do think, if you look on Kickstarter right now, or over the past few years, people will donate pledge $20 to a game, and then if it doesn't come out, they're like, oh, fuck, like we gotta get this guy, right? Like this is like I invested my money. People think that it's an investment already, and I didn't get anything for it. Like, this guy's a hack, he's a charlatan, and I don't necessarily disagree with those things. But at the same time, like, if you're actually getting to the point where people are putting in like $500, which can be a significant amount of money, thinking they're gonna like get rich, and then maybe the game doesn't come out or it tanks, it creates an issue. I think there are people betrayed.
Who are putting in $500 thinking they're going to be fucking millionaires.
Right, yeah, and like...
Oh, God, that's
it also creates some weird, like, conflicts of interest on the YouTube side, like...
Oh, yeah.
I don't feel like I could put, like, $500 into this and then be, like, do, like, a legitimate, independent, like, I don't want to call it objective, but you know what I mean, unbiased review or video of Psychonauts, too.
Yeah, no, I would absolutely feel 100% obligation to say, hey, I invested some money in this, so I am probably biased if I would ever like make a video or something on it, but
But I will say what I think it could be really cool for is games that are smaller than this. Like, I mean, maybe this is selfish, but why would I don't want to put in $500 and have like a 40% chance to get my $500 back in 3 years.
Right.
And then if it sells like well beyond expectations, well, I made like $1,000, which is amazing. But let's say if it sells as well as Brutal Legends sold over the course of like 10 goddamn years, I make like $500. That's not like if you
Getting that
make like
piecemeal
7%,
$5 every 3 months.
Exactly. If you make like 7% a year on your investment as is, it doubles in like 12 years or something like that, and is way more guaranteed than investing in a video game, or way more likely at least investing in a video game.
Yeah.
Like where I like this is if there's a game like imagine like original FTL on Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. You know, they wanted to make like $20,000 or something like that, and it ended up making millions of dollars. Like maybe you could be like, hey, this game looks really cool. I'll invest like a few grand, and then you could actually be like almost a pseudo business partner, but like hands off. Like I think that is way more cool than being like I'm one of like 900 people who invested $500 in.
Well, but you don't have to just invest 500, right? Can't you invest 5,000 if you really wanted to?
I don't know if there's even a cap on it.
Right, but then like the problems become more, I guess, myriad the more money you invest. Like with Double Fine specifically, I feel like the risk is just so high that I wouldn't.
No, I agree,
more
but
than
I'm
the
just saying
minimum.
it's up to the individual to decide what the risk is for them and whether or not they can spare that money. But there could be
course,
larger
yeah.
returns if you're interested in going in a larger way. So it is scalable to some degree.
Yeah. Well, certainly, yeah. The amount that you invest is going to be the amount that you risk, but
I just know, man, there's going to be people who invest and they're not going to get their money back, and there's just going to be internet shitstorms about it.
But, like, look at all the failed Kickstarter games. There's shitstorms about those. And
Exactly.
There's never a chance of them recouping their investment. All the chance is that they'll get a game they like. So this way, at least, they can get some money out of it if it works.
I think it's the shitstorm that there may be ensuant upon Psychonauts 2 not doing well enough for people to get returns on their investment is probably going to be a lot less so, and also a lot less justified than something like, I gave this guy $50 on Kickstarter and he never made the game. You know, like that's that's an explainable fallacy, but it's like you invest in Psychonauts 2, you have to at least have a thorough enough understanding of the process to realize that this is a risk that you're taking, right?
The hope is that like having a minimum buy-in cost at least weeds out people who
Right.
want to throw in $10 and then get back 15.
Yeah.
Now you said you're on a
Right.
you said you're on a waiting list for investing, right? Are they going to vet each person?
I would imagine so. I mean, well, that's
go
the thing
through
is
a
that's
process?
why they have the difference between unaccredited and accredited investors, so that you can be lumped just into that category of this person has nothing that makes them seem responsible enough to do this. So they're now under the umbrella of if they fuck shit up, there's nothing that we're responsible for. So that it's you get your own shit and you deal with it the way you will.
This is an aside, but I do see people in chat being like, well, $500 if you just leave it in the bank is just going to be $500 in 10 years. Mm-hmm. Yes, but you have to, like, if this is an investment opportunity, you have to compare it to things like, putting it in your 401k or something like that, putting it in your RSP.
In a Roth IRA or something. Yeah.
Exactly. Or, even just investing it in the stock market, buying bonds, or like, I don't know if you guys have GICs in the US, but like, if you're thinking about investing, this is not your only option to spend an extra $500. Like, it's not just like Double Fine or a bank account. Like, and I think that's where I come down to it is like, it's cool because it gives you an opportunity to invest at low levels in an industry that we know something about and can be like passionate about. Like it gives us kind of a horse in the race without actually developing our own games, which is cool. And for other stuff, I would possibly be interested in giving it a shot with the full knowledge that, as far as I'm concerned, once that money's out there, it might be gone. But I don't know if Psychonauts 2 is the game I feel most comfortable doing it about. Like I feel a lot more comfortable giving maybe $1,000 to a game that only has to sell 30,000 copies to break even.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to one that needs to sell half of what it's sold over the course of 10 years without the use of humble bundles otherwise. Because this is the average
And
wholesale
Steam
cost.
remake and all that other stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like right now, you got to sell 700,000 units at $21 each. That's like a really high cost in this day and age, I think.
Thinking about the fact alone that you have to sell 12,000 additional units on your $500 investment in order to make an additional $3. Like that, it's just that perspective alone is sort of difficult to overcome if you're looking at it.
You kind of already touched on this a little bit, but my mind was running to the idea of this seeding a whole like new generation of people being shills for them, like underground PR, that they're going to have a stake in this, and now all of a sudden they're not going to disclose that they're invested in this thing, and all of a sudden there's going to be this crazy push for Psychonauts 2 promotions.
Yeah.
Right? People are just going to start saying how amazing it is regardless because they want to recoup their money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the moral dilemma, too, of how much do you really disclose when you're in that position.
Right. But there'll be like a team of people that will never have allied with each other officially, but are all in the same cause of pushing this game because of this investment. And you know how YouTube is. People don't disclose shit all the time.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Makes a lot of
I
sense
hate
from
that.
a business perspective. Right?
They're buying PR in a way.
Yeah.
Again, there are people saying, like, what if they sell it at $60? To me, like...
God, good luck selling it.
Thank you. In today's climate, Psychonauts 2 does not sell for $60.
No,
if it does, it doesn't hit
No
the
way.
400,000 or 600,000.
And they know that, too. They have to know that.
You can't sell Psychonauts 2 for $60 now. Like, it just, the market will not support it. What worries me, actually, as an investor,
Especially
not that
on
I am an
Steam,
investor
man.
here.
Sorry,
Yeah.
but like the dirge of platformers on Steam.
Yeah.
Like, you want a platformer for $60? You want to buy fucking like a $5 platformer?
That's another interesting point, is the fact that it's going to be a very tough sell for people that don't know what Psychonauts is. You know, like, they're not going to be bringing a lot of new customers to Psychonauts 2.
Psychonauts 1 initially was an Xbox exclusive,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, by Majesco. And then years later, they ported it over to Steam.
And they point out
No.
themselves that they sold
exclusive.
only...
It wasn't?
PS2 and Xbox, if I remember.
Really?
Was it?
Yeah, Psychonauts.
I thought it was exclusive, too. Well, we're all going to learn today. Well, I'm going to point something else out, is the fact that, you know, they only sold like 400... Okay, they only sold, but they only sold 450,000 units in the initial release, and then they point out themselves that sales doubled after they put it out on Steam and re-released it through, what was that, like 2009 and 2014 or something like that.
If you look at it, like, they sold 1.2 million between 2010 and 2015.
There it is, yeah.
740,000 of those are from the Humble Bundles.
Yeah, that alone.
That's like 60% of the units that they sold are specifically because of Humble Bundles. So I don't know. Like, when I look at these numbers, I'm like, okay, it's only got to sell like a half of what Psychonauts 2 sold, but it took 10 years, and they had a Humble Bundle that pushed them over and probably brings the unit cost way down, thus meaning they need to sell more units to actually make up the initial investment.
And it was not an exclusive.
And
it was Xbox.
But
and
it's
PS2.
confusing, though. Like, there is
Yeah,
some publishing issues and stuff. So I think it was not exclusive, but, like, it might have tried to be at first.
They were feigning exclusivity for
Yeah.
Psychonauts.
What I will say is that please don't take this as like Psychonauts 2 is going to be bad, and don't even take it as like if you like Psychonauts 1, you shouldn't do what they're doing on the Kickstarter side of this. That's the same terms of service as always. You know, if you think it's going to be okay and you're fine with giving them $30 before release and then like getting the game in a few years, that's still an option here. But specifically, I'm talking from like the investment standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like what you were
I got
saying.
your answer, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So initially it was planned to be an Xbox exclusive, and then Majesco picked them up, had a third party port it over to the PS2, and the PS2 port was mind-bogglingly horrendous.
Oh.
Really long loading times, terrible controls. It was only good on the PC version and the Xbox version when it came out on
Jeez. Okay. Well,
But it came out on
there's
the
another
PS2,
bout of
so you're
confidence
right.
for you if you're looking to invest in Psychonauts 2 here.
I guess Budcat ported it over to the PS2.
Fucking Budcat.
Do you even really think of this game as one that you really are anticipating for a sequel in general? Because I'm, like, neutral on it, and I
Oh, I
like
do.
Psychonauts.
I do. Well, I mean, first of all, it has a pretty massive cliffhanger ending, so that alone is sort of setting it up for it. But it's no, I think this is one of the games that a lot of people have been looking for a sequel to. I think it's ripe for.
I think
a
it's
sequel.
one of their best, but I also think it's, like, a little above average in my opinion.
And
Which I guess says what I feel about them.
I'm with Nick, actually. Like, I'm already not that into collectathon platformers, and I got Psychonauts in one of the original Humble Bundles, maybe like Humble Bundle 3 or something. I played like 2 hours, and I was like, I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm done.
It's cool, it's charming, but like I'm not that into it.
It's probably one of the most recognizable franchises for Double Fine, right? We can agree on that.
Agree on that, yeah.
Double Fine is such a weird development company.
It is, definitely. But like that's the thing is, here's the two elements we know about Double Fine. A, Psychonauts is one of their big IPs, and B, they're known for being a big crowdfunding studio. Tim Schafer and Double Fine sort of set the precedent for crowdfunding and like made a big wave there. And now they're doing it again almost by launching FFVII. So this is a lot less, I think, about Psychonauts as it is about how big and influential Double Fine has been in the crowdfunding and alternate funding space for games.
It's weird. It's like one of their most noteworthy things now is the fact that they fund games a certain way.
Right, yeah.
Not the games themselves.
Double Fine by themselves would not even really be like, okay, this is a generalization, of course, but like they're not a legendary studio, right? They've got a lot of good titles that have a lot of cult audiences or attached to them.
There's a lot of creators behind some of the more legendary '90s games, which is why they have so much pull. I think Psychonauts was good, but like it didn't do well, and then Brutal Legend was incredibly mismarketed and didn't do well. I remember the demo for Brutal Legend coming out and playing it, and I was like, this is pretty fucking cool. Yeah. And then I got it, I'm like, wait a minute, it's an RTS? That makes no sense.
Yeah, no, that exact same thing happened to me. I
was like, this is a cool world, I love it, it's fantasy, it's action. There was no hint of RTS in the demo, there was no hint of RTS in the marketing at all. Yeah. You get the game, and the whole game is an RTS. And I was like, this is not what you marketed to me remotely.
I read a report saying that if Psychonauts 2 does well, that they intend to also do the same process and make a sequel for Brutal Legend.
I guess that's why Jack Black had a cameo in the announcement video.
Makes sense.
And they said they'd need like $25 million for Brutal Legend.
Okay.
And I'm like, come on, guys, that game was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad. I did not like it very much.
If we're going to put anything on a pedestal, put Psychonauts up there. Don't put Brutal Legend.
I don't know. Like, the more I think about it, the more I'm kind of conflicted, because at first, I was like, for stuff like FTL, that would have been really cool. But then I'm like, wouldn't it be better if there's a breakout Kickstarter success, the developers get to keep more of the money, like, so they can do them, Not just because they made the game, but the idea being that they would make better games even in the future. Like, maybe that money is better in the developers' hands than the investors' hands when it comes to the ecosystem.
Yeah, I'd love it if life were all cupcakes and sunshine, man. That'd be great, but...
Well, we're kind of getting to an era now where each individual project is sort of like its own little contract that goes through and expires, and then we fund it again like it's a new studio. It seems like nobody's willing to reinvest in their studio anymore. They just pay for that project and they move on and they fund the next game.
Well, the best thing to do is make a game with a studio, then shout at people on Twitter, disestablish the studio, reinvent yourself, and then re-release the game on Steam again.
I think you really have to respect. You really have to respect like Jonathan Blow for pretty much investing like all the money he made with Braid into The Witness and taking like 8 years to make it. Yeah, like it seems like that's. I mean, it might even be a bad business decision, but it's really unusual now that someone will be like Mike Bithell did it too for Volume. They'll take the proceeds from their first game, fund their second game with it, and kind of like leave it all out there. Mm-hmm. Which is scary, man. I wouldn't do it for sure. I would. If I made like an indie game that banked like $5 million, I'm out, man. I'm like Mini Notch.
Mini Notch.
I will move somewhere where I can live off the interest on that.
I can't say I do the exact same thing, but I feel I would probably not go all in with the next release, right? Like I would keep making stuff just to have a hobby, and that would pretty much be it. But that is it's a tough sell. But Fig. It's interesting. There's a lot of discussion to be had there for sure. It's a very interesting idea. But we are already pushing our time boundaries. So let's get on to Helldivers. It's the hardcore cooperative twin stick shooter from the creators of Magicka. I want you, I think Nick and Ryan primarily want you guys to tell me all about Helldivers. Let's go with Nick.
So, Helldivers is a game where it is, well, like you said, a twin-stick shooter. You're gonna jump in, hopefully with some friends, and do a little bit of, like, co-op action type of thing. So it's got a little bit of a feeling like kind of a Gauntlet, but with, like, missions, and it's shooting, and it's very sci-fi.
Yeah.
Everything kills you constantly. There's these drops you can call in that'll give you, like, resupplies of ammo, and you can shoot each other. Friendly fire is just part of the gameplay. And you have to do things like go find little objects in the environment or go turn on a thing and then wait through a horde of a certain amount of enemies. There's like landmines and things later on that get more complicated, and there's unlocks on a per mission basis. The idea is just to kind of spiral, get better armor, get better equipment, fight harder enemies, and succeed with your friends at a difficult task. I find it very enjoyable. It's sort of one of those little mini replayable games that there's a lot to be done in a short amount of time, and then you can put it away for a while and come back to it and have fun again.
You notice a lot of Magicka nods through the game? Or...
No.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I don't. What do you see?
It's made in the spirit of Magicka. Like the idea that like it's cooperative but also at the same time like accidentally adversarial. And like a lot of the joy in the game kind of focuses on like or hinges on like accidentally calling a pod down on your teammates and being like, "Oh, it sucks we lost," but it's also really funny. Like, you know, why did you do that, you idiot? Like, it has that same kind of spirit that that Magicka had. And Gauntlet had to some extent, but Helldivers definitely, it captures it a lot more.
Awesome.
It's silly. Like, you can res one of your fallen comrades, and then in the process of resing them, it calls down a drop pod, which can land on you and kill you. So there's a constant looming threat of death. The turrets that you can summon don't care where you're standing. So if they see an enemy and you're in the way, you're just going to get mowed down. And you'll die really quickly, too.
I've got footage of Nick playing it underneath, FYI, so this is
sweet.
It's rather
I hear it's
satisfying.
great. I want to play it. I do. I just haven't had time.
It already makes me mad because like I've been playing a bunch of the game. I've been trying to get other people to play it, and people are just kind of like, eh. And, you know, when we do it on the stream, some people are like, this is really awesome, but a lot of people leave, and the other people are like, this looks boring. And I'm like, it's going to be one of those games that is going to be awesome, and nobody's going to play it, and, you know, I'll go to bat for it, but it's an uphill battle.
It reminds me of that other game that was Arrowhead did, that fighting game.
Showdown Effect.
Yep.
Yep.
This actually, like, works.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
I mean...
I really like the Showdown Effect, but it was a little busted. Helldivers works, which is cool.
I remember you having an attitude similar to how you feel about Helldivers about Rocket League back when it was first being released. So I've sort of learned to listen when you have this level of passion about things. So I think I need to check this out.
So, but I accept also that sometimes people make up their minds in advance, and I do it too. Like, you know, I haven't played Undertale. I'm busy, but also I'm kind of like, you know, I just keep putting it off.
Yeah.
Partly because of the reaction to it, and partly because, you know, when I looked at it, I'm like, that doesn't seem like it's really my thing. Even though 1,000 people are like, it's the best thing ever. You gotta play it, you know? Like, so I'm not gonna be like too resentful when people are like, I don't really think Helldivers is my jam, but it is good.
Hadn't planned on doing this right now, but I do want to say that I had almost your exact same thought process about Undertale. So
As did I as well.
maybe you should. I don't know. It's my
Yeah, I know, but like you telling me that has literally zero impact on it. There will come a day where I'll be sick or something, and I'll be like, maybe today's the day, and then I'll play it, and then it'll be... Or maybe I'll never play it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not.
Sorry, Nick, you were saying something.
Oh, I was just going to say, Helldivers, the unfortunate thing is visually, it's not the most beautiful game you've ever seen. I don't think it looks bad by any means, but if you're looking for a game on a stream, it's not going to grab your attention the way a lot of games do. It's just got solid gameplay, and it's fun to play with friends, which doesn't always communicate well unless you're the person in the driver's seat. I also think it's very close to being on the cusp of something brilliant, but is just slightly let down. I was suggesting this on the stream. I know this is just my own personal thing, but if it had randomized loot or some way that you could like get an edge over things just by getting some lucky drop, I think that would make it so much more playable for me. As it is right now, you sort of grind through levels to get better equipment, and there's skill trees and stuff, which is fine. But occasionally getting that, you know, euphoric rush of getting a really cool item is really fun. And they didn't do that in this.
Nice.
Yeah, it would make it like a little bit more like Diablo-y, which I actually most of the time dislike, but I think it would be cool. Even if they just took the approach that like, if it doesn't drop like unique weapons, maybe it just drops like a weapon mod you can equip that gives you like even like a plus
Like
5% ammo magazine or crit chance or something like that. Yeah, I agree.
Right on. Helldivers. It's available now. Was released last week to the tune of it's 15. I want to say
20, and
20, yeah.
there is a controversy about it that I haven't been able to wrap my head around because there's a deluxe edition that has all the DLC that is 40. Actually, sorry, it might be 15 US. I'm looking in Canadian dollars. It says 20. So.
Oh no, you're right. It's 20. Yeah.
Okay.
20 US.
So the deluxe edition is 40, but it comes with all the DLC, and apparently the DLC is pretty okay. But the thing that bugs people is that if you buy the full game and then buy the DLC after, it costs you like 3 times as much or twice as much or something like that. So that's people are like, if you're gonna buy it, buy the deluxe edition, like knock it all out in advance, and you know it gives you like a ton of new equipment basically, which is kind of one of the most fun parts of the game, I guess. So it makes sense. But people are saying treat it like a $40 game instead of a $20 game.
It's also one of those awfully pretentious titles on Steam that includes the trademark symbol in the name of the game. So
that's like I'm pretty sure that's like a Sony thing.
Oh, is it?
It's like a AAA thing when a company comes out with it. They're like, we registered this shit. Like legally, it has to be broadcast as.
$40 seems
yeah, it's
high
published
for that.
by PlayStation Mobile, so I guess that makes sense.
I think it's really cool, like that it's. By the way, I don't know if we have the $20 or the $40 edition. I think we might only have the $20 edition, and I've been enjoying it. But that's what I'll say. I think it's cool that this was like not supposed to be, but started as a PlayStation exclusive, is published by PlayStation Mobile, but still came to Steam.
Yeah,
I'm happy they did that.
That's very neat.
Can you justify that price tag though?
Probably, yeah.
Potentially $40.
If I can get other people to fucking play it with me, then
All right, no, but imagine trying to sell that to people, right? Because you need to have friends with you. If they're all going to have to drop $40, I don't think a lot of people would be willing to.
No, I agree with that, but I do think it's worth it. You know, like I could see myself getting 20 or 30 hours out of it. I was getting deep. Like when I enjoy a game and I can tell I'm really enjoying it is when I go to the subreddit and I'm like looking at strategy.
Oh yeah, there you
and
go.
I was like on the Helldivers subreddit for like a few days. In the Skype chat with you guys, like, hey, you don't want to play Helldivers, and then just ghosted until someone posts a GIF of a cat like licking an ice cube or something. I was like, all right, I can take a hint.
I'm not sure I see the depth to it the way you seem to. I'm not really sure I get what you're seeing.
There's a surprising amount of strategy, but it takes a little while to get to it. You have to get past the missions that are seriously just like, here's enemies that die in one hit from the shotgun, and then, you know, always go, like, there are way more cool objectives than just, like, walk to this thing, punch in the Konami code, and then run to the exit.
Oh yeah, that's another thing about the game. To summon like your resupplies of ammo or to like activate a terminal, you've got to do little like mini DDR sequences on your keyboard. They're just like a series of up, down, left, rights, but it's just kind of a silly way to do it. But in a way, it makes it more interactive because it's the stress of all the enemies bearing down on you at the time that you're trying to put this code in. It's kind of a good idea in that way.
Yeah, I really like that actually. And on some of the objectives, if you punch in the code wrong, you just die, like you explode.
Oh, nice.
That's good.
It's an added element.
Hardcore.
Yeah, I'm a bit conflicted on it. I think it's a good game, but I think $20 is too much for it.
All right, fair enough. Next is a game that a lot of you have probably heard quite a bit about, but we do want to give it its nod, considering that it is now out of early access after being in there for God knows how long. It is Nuclear Throne, just officially released on December 5th of this year. And, wow, well, first of all, I didn't realize, geez, this has a lot of reviews.
Yeah, there's like 200,000 owners on Steam.
Yeah, man. I'm glad. Okay, that's awesome. Nuclear Throne is a post-apocalyptic roguelike top-down. It's a Pokemon clone. Yeah, allow me the spoonerism there. Roguelike top-down shooter. I really like that they use the term roguelike. I'm sure Ryan can tell me a lot about this game too, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you pretty much nailed it. The thing that separates maybe like Nuclear Throne from something like Isaac is it's much more fast-paced. It is a twin-stick shooter. Even though Isaac's a twin-stick shooter, this is more like frenetically paced, like Smash TV or even Helldivers or something like that. And it has an end, but the goal is to loop as many times as possible. So rather than just getting to the end, beating the boss, and being like, oh, here's my score, here's my time, you try to like, you can basically keep it going forever. All Nuclear Throne runs should end in you dying. eventually, whether it's 2 minutes in or 20 minutes in. It's much more fast paced than something like Isaac. If you lose focus for like 2 seconds, you could be dead instead of just like a half heart down. So it's even though it's kind of a similar genre, it definitely kind of tickles a different part of the fancy, I guess.
Just an Enter the Gungeon ripoff.
That would be a way to describe it: is Enter the Gungeon with way less guns.
Fair enough, yeah. So last time I played this was probably earlier this year. I would guess maybe around March or April. And I don't imagine it's probably changed that much since then, right? More just along the lines of polish and...
There's a lot. They update every week. Like, Vlambear's very good about... like doing the weekly update early access thing. There's a ton of new weapons and stuff like that, but they also completely changed the way that looping happens. Like looping no longer requires you to just kill the throne. Instead, there's like a separate win condition you have to do on the final boss fight. And they added like a bunch of secret areas and stuff like that. A couple new mutations, I think. That's about as long as I've been playing it like semi-consistently for, and it's changed a decent amount, for sure.
That's good.
There's new characters, new events, new areas that I've noticed, new weapons. They finally got all the art to be not placeholder, I believe, which is lovely.
Yeah.
It sort of had its own little appeal because of that, too, though, didn't it? Like, I kind of like that they had those crude, rudimentary drawings for crowns and mutations and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming the base game itself looks exactly the same for the most part.
It looks, I mean, from the perspective of the people not drawing it, I guess. Right. Like it looks the same as it did, back in 2012, basically.
Yeah.
Does anyone know what the designation has changed, like, about the game other than just we're saying it's now done? Like, is there a way that we knew it was now done? Did something happen?
They announced it at PSX that it was launching.
Yeah, that was the big thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, PSX was like, it's going to be launching on PlayStation Network like tonight, and that's when it came out.
So it was really just about distribution, not about, like, we finally added this and now it's done. It's still not really done, right? They're still going to be updating it.
I think it's one of those things where it's like, is a game ever done?
Right.
Like, is it done when you arbitrarily say this is version 1.0, or is it done when you never do anything for it ever again, right? Like, the big updates that I can see from the quote-unquote, like, release update is, like, trading cards and emotes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So... And bug fixing, like, which is obviously important, but like it wasn't like they were like, okay, the boss is in, we finished, right? Like,
So it's interesting to compare like the early access model. So let's compare it to something like Darkest Dungeon, for example. So in Darkest Dungeon, you have a full playable game that was available in early access at the beginning of this year. And they're still in early access, of course, but they've been adding a whole bunch of new content as the year has gone on. And then I think their like staple, their nail in the coffin is going to be the Darkest Dungeon is released, the final bosses are introduced, and then that's the game, right? But with Vlambeer and with Nuclear Throne, they've just been sort of introducing new content as they go and just adding and polish and polish and polish. And I guess all they're saying now with the official release is, okay, done, but obviously... still going to be worked on almost perpetually, right? So there's not an exact tangible thing that you can attribute to the final build of this game as, oh, that's what it was missing and that was the component it needed to be a complete and successful game. And that I'm sort of glad that that's a precedent being established in early access in general, is that you don't necessarily have to set a parameter of, okay, once we hit this bar, then we're done. It's like
glad though, really?
Yeah, I mean, if it's done as well as Vlambeer is doing it,
exactly.
That's I guess
if every game could do it like Nuclear Throne has done it.
Yeah.
And I think chat's bringing up a good point here. They're saying like what it means is that probably there was an internal milestone that now it's like feature complete.
Yeah.
And kind of like it coming out means that they aren't obligated to do weekly updates anymore. They feel like it's past that point. They could focus on they probably won't do DLC, knowing Vlambeer, but they could focus on like larger updates and like also working on other projects now and like making sure they're doing like bug fixing and polishing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Not to, if Rami hears this, by the way, not to say that you shouldn't do DLC. Feel free to do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, I'm just judging from what they've done in the past. But I would, more character packs or something for Nuclear Throne would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just think it's an interesting discussion when the line is so shady or gray about where exactly release happens, and especially in this case where it's like we've been playing the game pretty much as it's finished for a year.
Yeah.
But now it's finished.
I feel like the only, like, it looks like a big difference from something like Nuclear Throne to something like Afterbirth. Let's just compare those instead of like a AAA game, right?
Yeah.
But the only difference, I think, is that like the development of Nuclear Throne was really transparent, and we were like there for all of it. We could play it whenever we wanted to. Like when Afterbirth came out, is it really more done than Nuclear Throne was a week before it quote unquote released?
Right.
I think most people would say probably not, considering it still had like a bunch of bug fixes and stuff like that that had to be done.
It's a perception thing for sure. I just think it's interesting to talk about or bring that to light. That a lot of ways we're seeing the same thing in a lot of different games. We just don't acknowledge it. It just happens.
Yeah. And, I mean, to be fair, too, on the actual Steam community announcement page, Rami himself wrote that they want to emphasize that this release does not mean that no more updates will happen. It's a formality we had to get out of the way, and we were aware of the issues and problems on PC. So, yeah, like, they label it as this is a formality. You know, it's not the finite or the finality of the early access release is not really even to be overstated in their case. But it's like Ryan said, like, you know, this is obviously a very good example of a game done in early access. So it's sort of a tall order to assume that people are going to be able to follow suit so well. But yeah. I do like the precedent that they've set for the behavior that they have exuded over the course of the past year plus, you know. So
I agree.
To their credit.
They've been on for over 2 years on early access.
Three.
Fuck, man, really? Yeah, jeez, that is nuts.
Oh, no, wait. No, 2, you're right, sorry. My bad.
That sounds better.
Yeah, because
Still, 2 years.
It was PAX Prime 2013, where they were like, check out Wasteland Kings.
Oh, sure, that's what it was called. But I can never think of a time, I'm sure maybe there was, but there was never a time that I can think of where Nuclear Throne, like, the community was in a huge uproar over, like, non-transparent development.
Yeah, not every developer could do it like them. I think it might be the cleanest early access example, like I can think of. Is like there were I
can think of a lot of really shitty ones.
Yeah, no, that's the easy one.
Let's not dwell on that for too long, though.
Like the biggest controversy that I saw was when they added the change so that looping wasn't automatic. So you actually had to fulfill like a different win condition to get to looping. People were like, "This is shitty," and there was like a dialogue about it. As far as I know, it's still in the game, but people got used to it eventually. But that was like the biggest thing that happened. There was never like a, "Hey, is Lambert still alive? Like, are they? Are they still making this? I don't know, right? Like, we haven't had an update in a while. Like, they treated it like not only with respect, but they treated it like a business. Like, people who buy this game are buying it. Like, they're giving us, like, a vote of confidence. We should reward them with, like, what we said we would do. So, and they pretty much did it, so.
Yeah.
GG. Let's keep the freaking bar held up high.
Indeed,
this is one of those games where I'm like, if you bought it in early access, you did not miss out at all.
Right.
If anything, you might have even gotten a little extra added value. Not to say you made a mistake by waiting until it actually came out, but... Like, sweet, man. Like, you got to be there for the journey of development and see how it changed, and it came out, and they held up their end of the bargain.
Yeah, and like, if you've been holding out for the release and you want to know whether or not whatever issues you had were resolved, then pretty safe bet. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, it's out, and it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Probably great. Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
I have one more thing to add before we close this.
Do it.
GG. All right.
Nuclear Throne jokes, everybody. Okay. Time for everybody's favorite segment. It's Ask Roundtable. Ask Roundtable is brought to you by the famous and fantastic. I said famous, but you know, that's the fantastic
being
people.
Sponsored by something?
Squarespace can help you make a website.
Hey, they emailed us, man. Don't act like that's a far-fetched possibility.
This segment is brought to you by Audible. Visit audible.com and start your free trial today.
There's 2 podcast sponsors, right? And those are the 2.
Just send them
To
invoices.
learn how to do a podcast, we are sponsored by Linda.
Hey, you can save 15% or more.
We got it. Hey, guys, love the podcast. My question is, let me see if I can even pull up the
Seriously,
question.
though, like, please contact us.
If you represent one of those companies, we're happy to have a conversation with you. My question is, what games there are that you have played that got you into certain genres? Maybe there were genres you struggled to get into until a game came along and changed that. Would you recommend these for others looking to get into these kinds of games? Thank you, Raj, for that question. Ryan, I want to start with you. Was there a game that got you into a certain genre of games?
Yeah, easy question, I think. I can think of two right off the bat. CK2 for Grand Strategy games.
Was it CK2 or March of the Eagles?
Well, March of the Eagles, I guess, was like... I'm trying to find like a good metaphor for this, but March of the Eagles was like the amuse-bouche.
It was the gateway drug.
Exactly.
It was the weed to your heroin.
March of the Eagles allowed me, it prepared my mouth for the main course of Crusader Kings 2 that would come later. I possibly could have eaten the main course without the amuse-bouche, but I wouldn't have known where to start. This metaphor doesn't really work. But so yeah,
It's
CK2,
going somewhere.
I was like, hey, grand strategy games look really cool. They require a huge investment to understand. And I made like that huge investment through March of the Eagles and CK2. And then I was like, oh, I'll play like 500 hours of this in EU4 each. And that's pretty much, what happened. So CK2 definitely, although I would recommend EU4 as more of a gateway drug for grand strategy now. It's a little simpler to kind of conceive of. And
comes out.
XCOM Enemy Unknown for sure for like turn-based strategy. Like, after playing XCOM Enemy Unknown, I'm like, shit, I could play, like, what was it, Xenonauts. I could play Massive Chalice. I can play the Banner Saga. Like, that was a game that made me kind of fall in love with that genre. So, definitely XCOM Enemy Unknown as well.
Sweet. Mathas?
Unlike Ryan, I was probably playing all those, but I will say the one genre that I'm hugely into now, and it wasn't before, would be the roguelike. And I think Isaac got me into that.
Someone's got to say Isaac every ask.
No matter what our Ask Roundtable question is, at least one of us can respond with, Isaac did it for me.
I didn't play roguelikes before Isaac. Even vanilla Isaac, I only, it took me a long time to get into, but once I was into it, I was like, oh, I can see why these are so fun. And I have played a ton of different roguelikes, but I wasn't into that genre until Isaac kind of came around.
Sweet.
And that got me into it.
I'll not save myself for last for once. How about that? I sort of had a similar introduction to roguelikes with Spelunky, actually, so that did that for me. But also, sports games, believe it or not, I was into them. So I suppose this would be more of like a reintroduction, if I'm being honest with myself, because I played a lot of. Okay, so here's a fun data to reference. I played a lot of Tony La Russa baseball on my PlayStation.
Yeah.
Go ahead and look up Tony La Russa baseball if you want to.
Dude, what's great is that when you Google Tony La Russa baseball, it's not even the first autocomplete. The first one is Tony La Russa baseball game, which just indicates that people who are looking for this do not know the title. It's a game that has Tony La Russa.
Yeah. 1991. But
Dude,
anyway.
Fucking cover for this. This is back when they had those like portrait style boxes. This is like Tony La Russa's hand-drawn face.
Yeah.
Looking like a 1,000-yard stare like he just got back from Quezon.
Oh, no.
It's so good. It's like, I've seen shit you wouldn't believe.
I remember this, man. It was on my Sega Genesis. That's the console of choice we had back in the day. But I played Tony La Russa baseball a lot, and then just recently, a couple of years ago, I picked up NBA 2K14, and
You have so many hours in that.
It's kind of shameful, to be honest. I'm gonna pull it up right now just to get you the exact number.
There was a time in our lives where every time I went on Steam, you were playing that game.
It was bad. It was really bad. 232 hours in NBA 2K14. I got so addicted though. I did the my player thing. I took BaerTaffy to the NBA Finals 3 years running with the Dallas Mavericks. It was
Nice.
It was pretty revolutionary. But my favorite part of that game would be the social media challenges where people would get on Twitter and be like, "Yo, BaerTaffy, bet you can't throw up a triple-double while you're holding the baby half court and trying to play with 1 foot." And then they fucking like throw shade at you after the game, like, "Yeah, I knew you couldn't do it, you fucking bitch." Nick, what do you got?
All right, I have 2 answers. One is sort of a contortion. The other one's a legit answer. I'll do the legit answer first.
Yep.
Final Fantasy Tactics got me into the idea of turn-based strategy games. This is probably a pretty popular opinion. I think quite a few people started there. I had like absolutely zero interest in those until I played Tactics for whatever reason. And it's not like I got super into it, but I got into it enough that I'm like, you know what? I could see the potential of me spending hundreds of hours into it, which is enough to make me then say, you know what? XCOM sounds like a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Nice.
Being honest, though, I didn't actually play the original XCOM. I'm talking about the newer one, but now going back, I could see why the original was a good idea, too. And my contortion of an answer is that I think sometimes people can be your gateway. And in my case, the Alpaca Patrol is my gateway to understanding that EU4 is a thing that I could possibly enjoy.
Yeah.
If I didn't have him to talk to through it, I would have never bothered to spend like the 10 hours I did in it. So yeah, sometimes even watching YouTubers and things can introduce you. Like, I mean, Ryan got me into Darkest Dungeon. I never thought I'd like that either, but I watched him play it, and you know, the hype around seeing your characters live or die, having their names associated, that was enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
I think people can be that catalyst a lot of the time.
Definitely. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Raj, for that question. That was awesome. We appreciate it. And again, if you want to send us in a question, feel free to email that to roundtableYT@gmail.com. And we have a decent backlog right now, actually. So thank you very much for sending all those emails in. But again, please send in more because we're happy to have them perpetually. And finally, time for everyone's favorite segment following their favorite segment. It is Nick's Weird Games, wherein Nick chooses a weird game from his catalog of many weird games. And we try to guess which one it is based on the description and the publisher and developer and all that stuff. And if you're joining us in Twitch chat, feel free to guess as well. We'll all be keeping an eye out on there, or Nick will be, I guess, would be ideal, and play along with us. So every time we do this, yep, Nick's gonna go get the game. And every time we do this, we have a fancy, fun new theme song courtesy of our own Ryan, the politely rhyming lion, Latornu.
Best name.
And we had a fun little journey we took last night, and I'm hoping maybe you can rekindle some of that fire. But I don't want to go the route I think you're thinking of. I want to go the Meredith Brooks route.
Meredith Brooks.
Can you take it down there?
Good luck.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
Meredith Brooks. So she did Bitch.
Yep.
So that's
The classic song.
oh man, but it takes so long to get in a chorus. So it'd be like, Nick's getting a weird game. If I'm right, he'll return with something that's lame. EJM gave it a 65 in 91, and no one remembers his name. Tomorrow it'll change. But today is Nick's Weird Games. It's a disc, it's a cartridge, it's a piece. It's a shit in the cartridge. It's something Nick's Weird Games.
There we go. That's good.
All right, good enough.
Thank you.
I
like
listen
that.
now, so I can get back in and save you.
Yeah, you got the.
I did say EJM. I didn't want to get sued by EGM.
I think we knew what you meant.
Electronic Jams Monthly.
That was good.
All
What do you got?
So here we go. We're going in for another.
Let me
Nick's
hide
Weird
the
Games.
chat.
Today is a PS2 game,
Okay.
not published by Atlas, so don't worry.
Dope.
We still got to get that caveat in there.
Oh, I gotta get Chad out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here, Chat.
Yeah, here,
All right,
chat.
first, our year of release, February 2003.
Good timing.
Yeah.
All right,
February.
our developer is called Arica,
Aruka.
and our publisher is Capcom.
Okay.
Oh,
So there is a
okay.
chance that this might be on your outside vision.
Yeah.
It's Devil May Cry.
It is not Devil May Cry. This game is a little bit less traditional than a lot. It's a bit out of the box.
Would you
It is-
describe it as a weird game?
I would.
That's good
You play as a character named Leo, who is a diver exploring the treacherous Caribbean Sea.
then.
Oh. Okay,
Any
I am.
Is
guesses?
it Endless Ocean?
No.
No, this is totally
What
out of
is
my
Endless
ballpark.
Ocean.
I was hoping you'd pull out Tony
It's
Lewis of
a
baseball.
single player only. It's an adventure game is what they're qualifying it as. And I guess I'll go to some of the back of the box
Yeah,
business now.
yeah.
Yes, please.
All right, so first thing, you will learn to deep sea dive. You will develop your diving skills. These are actually bullet points.
This is like the order that they happen to.
Yeah.
You will observe and interact with marine life, and you will find hidden treasure in the Caribbean. Is it Caribbean or Caribbean? I think I say it
I
differently.
think it's interchangeable.
Interchangeably,
honestly, yeah.
okay.
Depends on whether there's pirates there.
You will explore the magic of deep sea diving.
Anybody in chat got it yet?
I actually haven't been looking at chat yet. Probably somebody does.
I'm tapping out. I got no idea.
Yeah, I got nothing, man.
I got nothing.
You might have stumped us on this one. I think we had like a decent win streak going there, but yeah, I think this one's out of our realm.
Let me just see. I guess I may as well just read this back of the box
Sure.
segment here. Follow heroes Leo and Zuko as they explore the truth behind Tales of the Caribbean's Bermuda Triangle and Coral Reef.
It's not
In
Aquaman. Come on.
No. Expansive underwater role-playing adventure. Uncover the sea's mysteries as you freely explore sunken treasure ships. Play with dolphins and other underwater sea life. Wander the Great Coral Sea and avoid shark attacks. It's a fun-filled deep-sea adventure for all ages.
Is it?
It says E for everyone, animated blood and mild violence. I'm going to guess the shark will just scrape you up a little bit sometimes.
Yeah. All right. I think we're,
All right,
I think
everybody
we're
out?
tapping out.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm out. Yeah.
Okay, there's our answer.
Oh, someone did say Everblue. Wow.
I've never seen that cover in my life.
I'd like to point out that Arika also made Endless Ocean. Just throwing that out
wow.
there.
All right.
No, you weren't totally off. It just wasn't the exact title, so I wasn't just going to give it to you. But
They've been making these fucking diving games for
They
10
love
years.
diving games, apparently.
Yeah, Endless Ocean 2, Adventures of the Deep. They made Everblue, then Everblue 2, and then they're like, we've gone as far as we can with the Everblue IP.
So I'm
We're
gonna
gonna
give-
make Endless Ocean, and then Endless Ocean 2, Adventures of the Deep.
I'm going to give Trox Samus, I think, in chat the first guess on that. Didn't say Everblue 2, but he did say Everblue. If we're going for Everblue 2, that's going to go to Destroyed
Yeah.
Arcana. So well done. All right.
well
And
played, guys.
That was good, yeah, and that is our show today. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Appreciate it. If you want to follow us here on twitch.tv/Roundtable Podcast, this is where we go live around 11 a.m. PST every week.
It's dark outside.
It is, yeah. It's been gloomy. You can follow us at Roundtable PC on Twitter. You can also go to the Roundtable Podcast subreddit for show discussion. That is roundtablepodcast.reddit.com. Feel free to rate the show 5 stars on iTunes. That does support us quite a bit. And you can also, if you would like to go the extra mile, you can go over and support us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/roundtable. Want to thank our patrons above the $20 tier for this week's episode. It would be Christopher Flagg, Alexander Spillman, General Crunk, Jonathan Graham, Air Force Balls, David Bradley, Matt, Julian Abelsgard, Kevin Birkland, Casey Mythscara, Mediocrities, Symph, Super Monoman, Zur, Kevin, Praise the Sunny Walker, Simurfet, Logan Ray, Gish Vandervet, Justin Positron, Brizzlebrip, and Ignacio0891. Thank you guys so much for your maintained support over there on the Patreon page. And thank you all for watching Roundtable Live, and we're off. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Later.
Later.
Goodbye.